Good morning. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Happy Wednesday to you. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. It's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning. Do we have time for a shout out, or are we going to get right into that awesome Padres game?
I don't want to talk about it for an hour. Shout out anybody you like.
I'd like to shout out my mother-in-law, Marianne, my second mom.
Sweet angel.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Marianne. Sweet angel. Is she listening right now?
Yeah, she might be.
All right. Happy birthday to you.
Hopefully she slept in a little bit on her birthday.
40 years old, man. It's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big milestone.
Big 4-0.
Happy birthday, Marianne. To my left, Ben Higgins, a.k.a. Shecky Green, Lord of the Catskills, my friends. Wait till we tell you guys.
George Carlin over here.
I can't see too good. Is that Rodney Dangerfield to my left? Because let me tell you guys something out there, tier ones.
Holy crap.
This SOB brought the house down yesterday at the Rancho Coastal Humane Society charity golf tournament benefit that we hosted. He's unbelievable. He made me laugh so hard that I couldn't.
You were literally speechless.
I was speechless, but I had to speak, and then I started stuttering over my part of it.
It was like you had never spoken.
It was like I've never spoken. He got me so good at this event that I was like, I was stuttering and I couldn't get the words out. He came with prepared material. Like, who are you? What happened?
I mean, you're making me out like this is Eddie Murphy Raw or something.
It was unbelievable.
It was mostly just a blithe observation as we stood up in front of the crowd.
Don't lie.
It was so pithy and brilliant. You
started thinking about this line. You probably delivered the line, I would say, about 12:30 p.m.
Yeah. And
I'm guessing you started thinking about it
7:15
a.m.
No, because we didn't get the announcement till after that, right?
No, we knew it. It was right before Take on Woods.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
I'm thinking we went to commercial break at call it 7:15, and I think he started. Light bulb went off.
He thought, I'm going to start
Gears
working
started
this in.
changing.
Yeah.
And he's going, how do
You're
I
setting people up for disappointment.
I'm not.
It's not. It was simply an observation. It was my usual dry. I'm looking at the group, and it's a nice little gathering of people who are out there to support the Rancho Coastal Humane Society. And there's some puppies there. And it's a very
so sweet.
It's a serene scene out at La Costa. I mean, this is a laid back tournament. We do our Ben and Woods Open. That is
it's not laid back.
That is chaos compared to this.
I think that there were drugs at our tournament, to be honest with you. There were no drugs at this tournament.
I'm looking at this very sweet, very laid back scene. And I welcome everybody to the first joint event of the PGA Tour and Live Golf. Today's prize purse is $80 million. It felt like
I laughed so hard.
Just a topical, nonsensical observation.
Prize today is $80 million. Laid me out. I said to him, I go, that's the funniest joke he has ever told, ever.
You were so floored and it just weren't expecting it.
I was not expecting it.
I mean, it feels like the Saudis might fund the Rancho Coastal Humane Society to the tune of $80 million, the way they're throwing money around, just buying stuff all over the place. I mean, if you can buy some of the richest people on earth, right? Professional golfers.
Yeah.
People who are already obscenely rich, a collection of hundreds of them. And you can essentially walk in and with your big checkbook, you can buy a group of the richest people on earth.
Yeah.
You can throw around some money. That is very clear today.
Years ago, I learned the term FU money.
Yeah.
My mom's boss, who she's worked for forever, multi-millionaire, maybe even a billionaire in Dallas, did a lot, did some oil stuff and had his fingers in a lot of pies, which is one of my favorite little sayings.
Have you ever stuck your finger in a pie?
I haven't. I've stuck my mouth in many. This is getting very, very dicey.
What was that place, the fair you told us
Oh
about
yeah,
yesterday?
the hand pies and
No,
the
but then there
cone
was
pies.
cone pies. The cone pies. You can stick your finger in your own cone pie.
So he took me to lunch, and when I was young, and he, hey, listen, your main goal, my friend, is to have FU money. And I said, well, what is FU money? And he goes, where you can basically look at somebody and say, F you. I don't have to do that. I'm not going to do that. Rich enough to buy your own plane, rich enough to do whatever you want. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know that I'm ever going to make FU money. I make the money I make now is like, how you doing, money? That's the money that I have. Like, hey, how are you? Yes, I can come do this for you money. I have that kind of money now. But yeah, those guys have the ultimate FU money. But your joke just laid me out. We had such a great day. Let's talk about the positives from yesterday. Went out to, it was a long day. I'll give you that. It was a very, very long day. I got into the office yesterday at 4:30 and I got home last night at about 7-ish. That was a long day. I didn't get to see, I only got to see my kids for 5 minutes, which I just hate those days. I feel incomplete when I don't get to be with them. So
I was texting with my wife later in the afternoon when she got home from work, and I'm like, I'm not complaining. It's not a bad day when you're out on a gorgeous golf course.
No.
Good cause.
Great
friends.
Yes.
Puppies.
Puppies. There were little
everything.
tiny puppies.
There were like 5 of the holes. There
They're
were
so
dogs waiting for
sweet.
you to rub for good luck
Yes.
and all that.
Didn't work.
But it didn't work.
No.
But a long day can still be a long day.
You can be making love to your wife all afternoon. And guess what? That's still a long day. You're still tired at the end of the day. Like even whatever, the most pleasurable thing, which we all enjoy playing golf. It's still a long day, but it was beautiful. Course was in great shape. We had a great time together. We had a lot of laughs. I love getting to hang out with you guys outside of work. It's very important. I get to hear Ben's jokes. It was a really, really fun day. And I'd been, I had this love affair with golf for a couple of years, and my hands have really bothered me. My wrists and my hands have really bothered me. So I haven't really played much. But I had a fun time, and I really missed it. And so it was good to get back out there with you guys and compete a little bit. And we played like absolute ass. I mean, it was maybe the worst scramble ever recorded in history. We had Ben Higgins on our team, and I think we had one birdie all day.
We couldn't make any putts.
Couldn't make a putt.
Yeah, we just couldn't make. I mean, we had chances.
Yeah,
we had
did.
a lot of 13-foot putts. It's 4 chances at it, and somehow we could not make anything.
Yeah, we couldn't. We had fun, and that's the most important part. We helped raise some money for Rancho Coastal. They are just the nicest people.
Yeah, shout out to Tier 1 Doug Downing, who invited us out there.
Best.
We
got to play with him.
Doug was like an intern for me, Craig, and myself on our Padres pregame show.
I didn't know
20 plus years ago when we first got started, and then he got into local TV, and he was working at another station. So we've kind of been in the same business for a while, and now he works for the Rancho Coastal Humane Society. And absolutely easy yes when he asked us to come out and MC the tournament and play with him, and that was a lot of fun.
I heard him say that he had your phone number, but I didn't know he was your intern.
Yeah, he was our intern back in the day when Craig and I did pre and post for one summer.
Good. Well, he was a great guy, and everyone was great, and we had a great time. And it was a beautiful day. But
there was one instance. Tell the story.
Which one?
The high-speed chase.
Oh yeah, at one
this
point,
was the highlight.
The highlight, because the golf was great and raising money was great, but the highlight of the day, we pull up to like 13,
I think, yeah.
And it's a tournament, so you have the same group in front of you. Now, of course, if you play golf with me, you will play. If you are in my foursome, you will play behind the oldest human beings to golf. It's standard. I like old people well enough, necessarily on the golf course, but the Haverkamps from Caddyshack. If you play around with me, somebody could call us and say, hey, I'm a huge Tier 1. I belong to Augusta National. Would love to have you guys out. We would fly out. We would play behind the 97-year-old members That is just, it happens. Everybody that plays me knows, oh, yeah, it's going to be a 17-hour round because Woodsy's here. We played behind the Haverkamps again yesterday, and they hit their ball. They're gone. All of a sudden, some old guy shows up out of nowhere on a golf cart with 2 sets of golf clubs, pulls up, looks around, starts walking to the tee box.
The tee box that we're approaching. We are driving from our.
He's going to hit. He's going to play. We don't know where he came from. We haven't seen him all day. We're 13 holes in. I looked at Paul. I go, who's this guy? He walks halfway up the tee box. He looks at me and Paul like we just caught him walking out of a bank with a bag of money. He runs back to his cart, gets in his cart, and hauls ass down the path. Then
just takes off.
Then to our right, a marshal comes screaming by in a golf cart. Now, both golf carts only go the same speed.
Right.
They're floored. He's chasing after this old
man.
There's
about 100 feet between them, and they're just going at the
same pace around the golf course.
And he chased him the entire length of the
It
course.
was a low speed, same speed chase.
Like calling the choppers.
I think this guy just snuck his way onto the court.
Stole a cart
with 2 bags on it and was like, I'm playing. I'm just going to go out and find a hole to just play. So I was crying, laughing. I was like, he's going to get – I go, is he chasing him? Sure enough, dude, he was tracking that guy all the way down. I go, we're playing like such ass right now. Maybe we just follow them for the rest of the day. I was crying, dude.
So in favor of that.
Edward, get your ass back here. Oh, dude, it was so funny. So that was the highlight of the day.
I thought the funniest moment was a couple holes later on the par 3.
Oh, yes.
So if you've played La Costa before, the Legends course, it's surrounded by houses and condos all the way
everywhere.
And we're playing the 14th, which is the par 3 that's all the way out there. And there are, balconies above the green.
What about this?
And we're on the green. We've got like a 20-footer like we do all the time. And
I go first.
Woods goes first,
Yep,
and then Paul and Doug putt, and we haven't really even been close. And I keep hearing laughter.
Yes.
There's a woman up on the balcony, and I assume she must be on the phone or talking to someone. It's fine. It wasn't bothering me.
She was on something.
Yeah,
I don't think it was the phone.
And then, but then I putt, and I just missed by a little bit. And she was, that was a little bit better. She was laughing at us.
I putted, and I hear,
yeah, and Ben mentioned, they're laughing at us, and I thought, there's no way.
I thought I was kidding. I was totally kidding.
It was just timed out that way.
No, then Paul putts.
And then I heard, somebody putts, and I hear, nice try. And I'm like, she was nice try, sweetie.
I think she was sitting on her porch, smoking a joint, drinking a Tom Collins, and laughing at us from her balcony. And I was like biting my tongue. I was almost like, hey, pipe down. But I was like, I don't really want to get in a fight out here at the Rancho Coastal Humane Society benefit. So anyway, we had a great day. It was fun. We had some laughs, and then we all got home and turned the game on, and all the laughter stopped, all the joy stopped, and the text thread started between the 3 of us. And we'll talk. We'll talk. I lost another $10.
It's weird because we're stuck not in one Groundhog Day, but 2. We are stuck in the alternating Groundhog Days. Padres win, Padres lose, and score 1 run. Padres win, score a bunch. Padres lose, and score 1 run. Padres win, score a bunch. Padres lose, and score 1 run. This is the 4th iteration we have lived through. Today could be the start of Groundhog Days number 5 if the Padres win again and score a bunch of runs against the Mariners.
Can you place bets? Like, not just, I'm going to take the under on the total runs or whatever. Like, could I have gone to a bookie yesterday afternoon and said, the Padres are only going to score 1 run tonight?
Yeah, it's a prop bet, but your guy would have to have that option. And there's no... Not to my knowledge, at least. Everybody that I know that gambles, nobody has like a guy they're like, all right, give me 2 dimes on the Yankees today. Give me 3 on the Mets. Like, I don't know.
I do think
really
there are
works
some of those new websites.
Websites have
where you
stuff.
can actually like create your own bet, and they can use AI to put the odds on it. I mean,
after the Padres won on Monday night, 5-1, right? 5-1.
Yes.
We knew they were only going to score 1 run yesterday.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people calling it. The fan base is absolutely cannibalizing itself right now. Cannibalizing itself. So yeah, it's the team it's not good, but they're not bad. They're just
they're very bad,
and they're
and then the next day they're very good.
very good.
They are alternating very bad and very good
I
offenses, at least.
I texted something
on a daily basis.
I texted something to Ben last night, and he dug in on me a little bit this morning, but he has a good point, and I'm trying. We'll talk about it. We will talk about it when we talk about this team. We have a great show planned for you today. Now, I realize that there are people in our audience that don't like golf at all. That's fine. We do. We happen to. The PGA Live story, we kicked it around on the course yesterday. It's the biggest golf story of our lifetime. Other than Tiger Woods, like sleeping with Perkins waitresses. That wasn't even golf. That was Tiger Woods' personal life. Some of his comebacks have been big. This is bigger. This is the biggest story I've ever been a part of. I can't believe it. The details are staggering. We got Alan Shipnuck, who is you couldn't get a better guest for this. If you're interested, you could not get a better guest than Alan Shipnuck at 9:00. You just couldn't. We may have Adam Jones today.
We will not.
We will not have Adam Jones today. He is on a golf trip with his boys.
His dad flew out.
Good for him.
Cool.
So I
Okay,
said,
good.
Cool.
You're off the hook.
You're off the hook. So no Adam Jones today. But yeah, so Corey Brock from the Mariners, we're going to get in a fight with him for sure at 9:35. But we love Corey.
Not like they're going gangbusters either this year. Very disappointing season for the Seattle Mariners so far.
But if you're playing a disappointing season, what's the cure for your ailments?
Petco
San
Park.
Diego and Petco Park. So welcome.
Until they lose today, 7-1, and then they'll go home going, "What's wrong with our team,
bro?" If this happens, I mean, all right, we'll talk about all of this, but we're really, really excited about today's show. So it should be a good one. We will have some fun. We will have some laughs. A lot of games to go, and I understand your frustration. I'm frustrated as balls right now, so we'll get there.
Paulie has pulled the incorporator from last night's game. How did Jesse work the word bioturbation into the broadcast? Did so successfully. We'll get that to you coming up. Our daily ditty as well selection, and then we are off and running on a Wednesday, middle of the week. Glad to have you with us. Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's check traffic right now with Kelly Danek on 97.3 The Fan.
You SOB. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Thank you.
You couldn't have done better.
I appreciate that. So the Daily Diddy theme this week from Woods was bands whose signature song, like the one they're most known for,
Sucks.
not a good song.
It sucks.
And while I kind of like Money for Nothing, I recognize it's probably Dire Straits' worst
It's
song,
so
and it's the
bad.
one that
the
everyone
biggest
knows them
hit.
for because it's the big MTV, was played all the time in the 80s on MTV. But
This
they have
song
so many
rules.
better songs.
This song rules.
I've already picked Sultans of Swing before, which is one of my favorites.
That's a
but
great one.
This
That's
is so far
their
away.
most popular song.
Which one?
Sultans of
Sultans of
Swing is,
Swing.
yeah, it is their best song, but the one they're most known for is
Yeah,
probably Money for Nothing.
Get some money for nothing and you
It's-
chicks for free.
It's like their worst song.
It's so bad. We got to install microwave on this custom kitchen in the living room. We got to move
It doesn't even
these
sound like any of the other. It
refrigerators.
doesn't sound like
We
any
got
of the
to
other
move
songs.
these color TVs.
If that's what you think Dire Straits sounds like, then you have no idea
Oh,
what
man.
Dire Straits sounds like.
God,
Mark Knopfler is
It's
amazing
incredible.
on the guitar, and
incredible.
that song is
song's
not
awesome.
representative of the rest of their discography.
Harry doesn't mind.
I love that song. That Polly. He's strictly rhythm. He doesn't play.
I
the
like
blues.
that song.
I, do
I
too.
like
I
that
love
song.
Sultans.
I
It's just
like
that
Sultans
one,
of Swing.
that one
And Harry
part.
doesn't mind if he doesn't.
Check out
Make
Guitar
the
George. He knows all the chords. But So Far Away is one of their many, many a little kind of slower,
Oh,
more
it's so good.
earthy songs
It's
that they do.
Such a great song, man. Such a great song. I love Sultans of Swing. Oh, Hannah says Walk of Life is really good. I don't really like Walk of Life either.
Sometimes I like it, sometimes I
You
don't.
do the walk. You do the walk of life. That's not bad. It's not bad. Got to get you in a good mood, which we desperately need. We desperately need here on Ben and Woods. Ben, you nailed that assignment. Paulie, you nailed that assignment yesterday when you did yours. So
You made
hopefully
us work, but I think we're 2 for 2.
I did. So hopefully I can nail it again tomorrow. But man, yeah, we have only like a minute here.
Well, speaking of
1
nailing
minute.
the assignment, that's enough time to
That's
get our
perfect,
incorporator in. And Jesse
He always does.
always nails the assignment of taking the word we give him on Tuesday morning and somehow working it into a Padres broadcast later that day. And yesterday I gave him the word. Well, we've got it here for you. Today, for the incorporator, you are getting bioturbation.
Is that leadoff hitter for the Cubs?
No, bioturbation is the mixing and turning of soil caused by organisms moving through the soil. So think of like
Sure.
worms, like
Tilling.
crawling through
Yeah,
the soil, tilling
yes.
the soil
That's a great word.
with like worms. So bioturbation.
And he did it. It was in the top of the 5th inning during last night's broadcast.
Ground ball to first base and just foul again.
You know, one of the other things that I've always been interested in is groundskeeping. The different types of grass,
Yeah.
working different types of climate. Getting the chance to talk to Matt, the head groundskeeper here in San Diego, who I've known since I was a kid.
In the dirt, 2-2.
Those things have always fascinated me.
Matt Balo and his crew obviously do an incredible job here. Perhaps the best bioturbation crew in all of baseball. The way they grind it all up, put it back together. 2-2, reach
Now-
forward, just got a piece.
All right, yeah, Tony definitely gave him an avenue there,
Yeah.
talking about the groundskeeping. Now, had they done it 1 inning later, that was when Brent Honeywell in the 6th slipped on the mound, created his own bioturbation of the earth.
Yeah, with his spikes.
with his cleats.
Yeah.
Not an organism, but was there. And it turned out to be a pivotal point in the game because, he was up 2 outs, nobody on, 0-2 count.
Super cool, man.
And
Super
then
cool moment.
they brought the trainers out and said, I'm okay to go on, and then threw 3 balls and gave up the go-ahead and eventual game-winning home run
That's really cool.
to Teoscar Hernandez in that at-bat. So
Yeah,
that was
awesome.
it. As the
So
Padres
cool.
didn't score again.
Love it.
So
The
we
best.
will,
The best. So cool.
but yes, the bullpen let him down a little bit. Steven Wilson gave up a couple of runs, but
they've been so good.
that's not why they lost.
Bro, they've been so good. I mean, is our bullpen not allowed to have an off night? Are they not allowed to?
Apparently
not. Apparently, they're not allowed to have.
We'll talk about it. We've got our Padres wrap up coming up next.
Oh, I need a paper bag, please. Breathe into. I can feel my heart racing.
I think to me there was one thing that was a little bit different about last night compared to some of the other losses. We'll get into that coming up next. Do not go anywhere. Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Sauer 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Cars.com. Whether you're looking for the perfect summer road trip car or something you can zip around in, visit Cars.com today. They have over 2 million cars for your 2 million summer possibilities. Head to Cars.com. Check out the possibilities. Cars.com. Where to next?
Just reminded me, you had a dream about the Padres the night before last.
Correct.
And your dream was Fernando Tatis Jr. coming in to strike out Shohei Ohtani with like 100-mile-an-hour heaters. I had a Padres dream last night.
You just remembered
I
it?
just remembered. Well, I told Paulie that I had one. I meant to bring it up. Mine was a little different. I woke up in a panic about what to ask Ryan Flaherty in our interview with Ryan Flaherty. That does not exist. We do not have an interview scheduled with Ryan Flaherty. In fact, we are not allowed. We are not allowed to interview Ryan Flaherty. So the other part of it, though, was me and Paulie were somewhere. It was a fantasy camp vibe. It was a spring training vibe.
It's a dream, obviously.
Jake Cronenworth is sitting at a table, Paulie, like the lunch tables at camp. He turns and looks at me and motions to the chair to sit down. I sit down in the chair to shoot the S with Jake Cronenworth. All of a sudden, I feel a specter behind me. I look up and I turn around and it's Ian Kinsler. And he is staring daggers through me like, hey, load, get out of my chair. And I stood up. Now
Did Jake set you up?
I think so.
Like,
I'm a foot.
Hey, this is going to be funny. We're going to sit him in Ian's chair.
Yeah,
and
sit
he's
him in
gonna lose
Ian's
his
chair.
mind.
I'm a good solid foot taller than Ian Kinsler in real life, I think.
But not in the dream.
No, in the dream. And I like looked down at him and he was looking up at me and I was terrified. I got chills through my body. And I stood up and was like, dude, all right, number one, relax. It's a chair. But it was the media sitting at the players' table. There's something in there. What's going on? Deep inside me, right? Well, that's weird. What's going on in me right now?
We need to Sigmund Freud.
We need to analyze this thing.
Take a look. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Is it something about you? Is
I
it
don't
something
know.
about the Padres?
I don't know. But it was like he was pissed that I was sitting in his chair. So, but the Flaherty, I woke up, no kidding. And this was when I was awake. I'm like, what the hell? How are we gonna ask this? And then I go, oh, you don't have an interview. Well, you have Corey Brock and Alan Shipnuck.
It's interesting though, because you spend most of your day talking about and analyzing the Padres, and then when you're sleeping, your subconscious apparently is doing the same thing, continuing to work on the problem, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Peel it back like an onion.
Yeah, very, very weird. The dream. I would love to have a dream analyst in here one day. That'd be a lot of fun.
I don't think last night's game was that complicated, and we'll talk about it. We'll get to our Padres wrap up here right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is sponsored by Hamul Casino. Got a collision on northbound 5 past Plaza Boulevard, not showing if lanes are blocked, and a hit-and-run crash in the North County southbound 15 before El Norte Parkway. It's got the fast lane blocked. Kick off summer at Hamul Casino's annual block party on Saturday, June 17th, with live music, DJs, free food, $20 in free play, and lots of fun. See HamulCasinoSD.com for details. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Did you miss any of the Padres game yesterday?
Oh, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Oh, God, here we go. Jesus Christ.
Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
It's the Padres wrap-up with Ben and Woods.
Slam Diego? More like fail Diego.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
Swinging a ground ball up the middle. Kim to his left, can't get there. It'll go into left center for a base hit. Crawford rounding third. He's going to score. Rodriguez will stop at third base. An RBI single for Ty France. A little bit of a two-out rally here. Mariners going to take a 1-0 lead. Gilbert's first one to him is a check swing grounder towards first. France charges, has it, thought about coming home, but his only play is to first base. Odor comes in to score, and the game is tied on kind of an accidental swing by Fernando. Pitch from Honeywell is hit in the air to deep left center field. Racing back Fernando at the wall, looking up, gonna go. A home run for Teoscar Hernandez to put the Mariners back in front. His 10th of the year. It's 2-1 Seattle. And lucky for him, the previous pitch was only ball 3. First pitch on the way to Rodriguez is hit in the air to very deep left field. Soto will jog back, look up, and watch it fly. Second deck in left field, a no-doubter for Julio Rodriguez. His 11th of the year. Second home run of the night for the Mariners, and they've got their biggest lead of the night. It's 3-1. One pitch is hit off the end of the bat through the right side, and a base hit. France is rounding third. He's going to be waved. Dixon comes up throwing. His throw to the plate, not in time. An RBI single for Teoscar Hernandez. 4-1 Seattle here in the 8th. Runner goes, pitches strike. Sanchez throw down to second base is in time. Gary Sanchez hoses down Caballero at the top of the 9th inning. What a throw by the Padre catcher. Runners will go. And the 3-2 to Dixon is muscled up the middle on the ground. It rolls out to Caballero. Long throw to first is in time, and the ball game is over. Padres make a little bit of noise in the bottom of the 9th inning. They get the tying run to the plate, but Brandon Dixon grounds to second to end it, and the Mariners take game 1 of the series by a final of 4-1.
That's kind of, I would say, frustrating as a team, is that we play a good game and then we don't follow it up. And, we've talked often about we got to put together, several good games in a row to get on a run and feel a little bit better about ourselves. We haven't been able to play 2 in a row, really.
I mean, why do we even bother asking Bob Melvin anymore?
Dude,
that's
real.
the same soundbite every other day.
Every other day.
Got to get going. I mean, he's not wrong. What else can he say? I'm not blaming Bob Melvin. I'm just tired of hearing the same quote day after day.
I think that's the general feeling that I have about this team, Ben. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of hearing Bob Melvin. I'm tired of you.
You want something different.
I'm tired of you.
Thank you.
I'm tired of me. I'm tired of Paul.
Well,
I'm tired of all of us. I'm tired of the it's the same stuff every day.
We've been trying to figure out this team for weeks and weeks and can't. But we already figured out your dream, like instantaneously.
Absolutely instant. Aaron in the chat said, dude, Woodsy, that's called imposter syndrome. And I went, and I said, brother, I absolutely suffer from that every single day of my life. There's times I drive home from here and I'm like, how do we do that? Honestly, I feel that big time. So yeah, it's already been analyzed. Me thinking I belong at that table, not as a pro ball player, but like just as somebody that knows what I'm talking about. Ian Kinsler standing behind me going, you're in the wrong chair. You nailed that. Like it was almost creepy how much I realized that that's exactly what that is. And I do suffer from imposter syndrome.
You belong here. You belong where you are. I don't think tell yourself that.
I don't
feel good about yourself.
I don't believe I
deserve
here.
this. Say, repeat after me.
Right.
I deserve this.
I deserve this.
I deserve to be happy.
I deserve to be happy.
I deserve to be fulfilled in my career.
I deserve to be fulfilled in my career.
And I deserve to watch a winning baseball team.
And I deserve to watch and cover a winning baseball team. And so do the people that sell that ballpark out for the 22nd time this season. Again, I'm going to tip my hat to you, Padres fans. You're amazing. You show up, you drive down there, you park, you root this team on, and you just every other night is you're left with disappointment.
And I think sometimes we overthink things a little bit.
Yeah, we do.
The loss on Friday to the Cubs, unacceptable, horrible.
Correct.
You can't be losing to Jameson Taillon in a game like that and only score 1 run.
Right.
But I actually thought Logan Gilbert was pretty good last night. I thought he was really good, good stuff, movement, hitting his spots. Padres had some chances, got a couple extra base hits, drove some balls hard.
Yeah, their first 3 hits were all extra base hits.
Played some small ball to get a run in, just couldn't get a big hit. They were 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. If you can say, well, here we go back to the same old problem again, and that is true, but every team will have games where they go up against a good pitcher. I thought they battled to get opportunities, and it comes down to whether or not you get a big hit or not. And the Padres didn't do it last night. If this had been any other normal season and the Padres had been going well, wouldn't be worried about last night's game at all. I just say, well, yeah, that's one of those games you're going to get over the course of 162. Fought pretty hard against a good pitcher, gave yourself some opportunities to win.
Your bullpen had an off night after being great.
Yeah, you got a good starting outing. You know, Joe's pitch count got driven up, so he had to come out after 5. Nothing he did wrong, though, in that game.
Dude, I mean, you can pretty much put Joe Musgrove's pitch count on JP freaking Crawford. Good Lord. The guy's up there having 10 pitch, 12 pitch ABs. It kills you as a starter.
But that's a loss. In a season that's not been so frustrating and so difficult, that is a loss that you easily just wash away. And you come back the next day and you go, nothing to worry about from last night. There really was nothing in particular to worry about from last night's Padres game. It's the context. It's the fact that they can't win. We need them so badly to go on a winning streak and put together consecutive wins that has us gripping really hard about a game like last night. When in fact, we can't. There's nothing there. There's no there in last night's game. To me,
the only one, and it's been the problem, all season long, is the 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. It's the struggles of many of our guys. Jake Cronenworth is the new of the day. He's the new Hosmer of the day. Everybody, and this is not only the Padres fan base that does this. I mean, every team longs for 1 through 9 productive, even if, hey man, we don't count on Martin Maldonado to hit 20 bombs for the Astros. That SOB, he catches every night. He's out there. He throws guys out. He does this. He does that. Every fan base has that guy or two that is it's like Twitter. You never want to be the main character on Twitter. You never want to be the main character in the Padres lineup. And I think honestly, every person on that team takes their turn, and that's the problem. We have too many main characters every day. And Jake's the one of the day. And hey, man, he'd be the first to tell you he sucks right now. A lot of them do. Yeah, Grisham was yesterday. Nola's had his turn in the. It's not your chance in the sun. It's your chance in the pouring rain. Tatis has been fine. He had his issues, right? Manny is deserving of it, certainly. Soto is deserving of it kind of again. He's he got a knock last night. But everybody's kind of taking their turn in the toilet this year, and they just cannot all get it together at the same time, and it's really tough.
That we like Jake.
I love Jake. He's a great dude.
One of our favorites on the team.
He's dying right now.
But it is, and if it was just a slump, that's fine too. It has been a trend now for not just to this season, but he was better. He's been getting kind of progressively just a little bit less productive offensively from season to season, and now it's starting to get really bad. It is the same arc as Trent Grisham, and that to me is worrisome.
That's very, very concerning.
That's good news for Trent Grisham. He's got a $90 million 8-year contract extension probably on its way.
Well, and he's been out of the lineup for the last couple of days, and
probably signing that deal.
And he's like, oh well, at least I'm not the main character today. And I think, look,
but that's a legitimate concern.
It absolutely
hear that from Padres fans. What is it about the coaching, the organization, when you have these very promising young players?
Well, he was never young when he got.
He was not young. Okay, but he's not getting worse because he's past his prime.
Correct.
He's not 37 and just dropping off. This isn't a Nelson Cruz situation.
Correct.
He should still be in his prime, and he should still be actually getting better.
Yeah.
With the experience he's gotten, with the experience Trent Grisham has gotten on the big league level, playing every day. Both of those guys have essentially had the opportunity for the better part of the last 3 years to play every day.
Yep.
They should be improving. They're getting more knowledge. They're up there, more experience, seeing more pitchers, getting, all these at-bats. They should be getting better, and they're not. They're getting worse, if anything. Pretty clearly, offensively, they've both been getting worse. What is it about this organization that has taken some good players, and instead of accentuating that and making them better, they are getting worse somehow? And that is something that I think the Padres, AJ Preller, and everybody in that organization does need to get down to it. What is it?
How do you fix that? How do you fix that?
It's tough because
you install a drive line in the stadium.
But if the
I don't get it.
if the Padres were doing things vastly different than other teams, you'd go, well, we've got to stop doing that. Let's do what the successful teams are doing. If you look behind the scenes of the Padres, you look under the hood at what the coaches are doing, it's very similar to what other teams are doing. They're not working less. They're not trying something radically different. They're using, for the most part, accepted methods. Every team has a little bit different in terms of how much of the analytics they use and present to players, but Padres are not, way on the end of the bell curve. They're not, the least analytical team. They're not the most analytical team. They're not outside the norms of Major League Baseball in what they're doing. So identifying that problem is difficult because I don't think it's obvious what it is. A lot of fans will go, oh, obviously they're I hear some people say, oh, they're too analytical. I don't think that's it, but they're not analytical enough. I don't think that's it either, actually. I mean, they're somewhere kind of in the kind of the middle of the pack when it comes to that sort of thing.
They've been able to figure out some pitching things here very well. Very well. The AJ Preller has been able to identify some guys over the years, over his tenure. I think when he looks back at his career, he can look at, some pitchers that they've really developed and guys that have pitched well when they came here, guys that have pitched above their heads even sometimes here. And I think Ruben Niebla deserves a lot of credit for that. I think Ben Fritz deserves a lot of credit for that. All of those guys know what they're doing. How do you find that mentality? How do you find that process for hitters and position players?
It's not a put in more work thing. No one works more than Trent Grisham.
No one works more than Jake Cronenworth, man.
Yeah.
I mean, his swing to me, and I know nothing about the big league swing. Honestly, you should see my swing. It is.
I love Trent's swing.
I like Trent's swing too. Sometimes I like his approach, and I really sometimes like Jake. Sometimes I don't. But they're doing what they can do. But his swing to me looks very, very like I'm going to try to yak this one out of the yard. Sometimes so does Juan Soto's. Sometimes so does Manny Machado's. One thing I've been thinking about a lot is we had Adam Jones on. Remember a couple weeks ago when he told us about when he played, he said, it was so brilliant to me. He said, the first swing is mine. The first swing is my swing. I get to swing out of my shoes. The next swing and the swing after that, those belong to the team. That I don't see from the Padres. I see kind of the same three every time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. It really clicked in my head.
All right. We'll continue to discuss this. I also want to get into the news that broke during our show yesterday. The merger between the PGA Tour and Live Golf and yesterday's unbelievable fallout. Play Take on Woods as well. It's all coming up next at 7 o'clock here on 97.3 The Fan. Seeing some of the comments on social media. Again, all the same stuff we've seen before. Padres need to change their approach, be more aggressive early in the count. Yeah, we've seen that, and we've seen them, ground out to second base on the first pitch. That's even worse than doing it on the eighth pitch after taking some balls and strikes. So I don't know that that's it. Eric says in the chat, hitting coaches combined with Bo Mel and team leaders not trying hard enough to motivate. I mean, I don't think motivation is the problem. I really don't. How do you explain how well they play defense? They're motivated when they go out and play defense, and the pitchers are motivated, but they lose all their motivation when they come to home plate. I guarantee you that 99% of batters when they go up to home plate are very motivated to succeed.
I mean,
no one wants to strike out in front of a sellout crowd.
Why wouldn't it be 100%? I think 100. Nobody wants to go up there and look like a butthole.
No.
You know what I mean? Everyone wants to get a knock.
I think there's a tiny percentage of times in games that are out of hand that people give up at bats.
Sure, yeah.
Go up there with a bad approach and not with a great head on their shoulders. But the vast majority of the time, everyone wants to succeed, especially you're playing in front of 42,000 home fans who want to see you succeed, and you're the center of attention. What more motivation do you need other than that? I don't think it's motivation. I think they want to succeed. I think you see that on a nightly basis when it comes to their defense and their pitching.
I can't even sit in here and do it again with they're trying too hard. They're pressing. I just they obviously are. They obviously are, but I can't, and sometimes you get beat. That's just baseball. Sometimes you get beat. Sometimes Logan Gilbert pitches really well and you get beat. And your bullpen has an off night and you don't get knocks. But we've just seen it. They're rounding into form right now. And the form that they're rounding into isn't a good one. It's just a very mediocre, inconsistent. I said it in the text last night. They're a boring baseball team. They're boring. I'm bored when I'm watching Padre games. Honestly, for the first time, Ben, since 2010, I'm bored watching them. When I first got here and was watching, it was the promise of a international team, and it was the prospects, and I was still intrigued. This has a team laden with superstars, and I'm bored out of my mind. When we get down, I'm bored.
Is that fair? Were you bored on Monday at the game when they were winning, or Saturday or Thursday?
Not really.
When they scored runs and Fernando Tatis Jr. had a 2 home run game. I mean, those games aren't boring.
They can be exciting. They can be. But this has been a boring season as far as win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one.
There are very few teams that you can say, hey, win or lose, they're always exciting. That rarely happens in baseball. There's a couple of teams, hey, when they lose, it's 10-9 and it's a hell of a game. That occasionally happens. But for the most part, winning is exciting and fun, and losing is boring and bad. So when you have a losing record, more of the games are going to be boring and bad than exciting and good.
People agree with me, and I don't know, maybe boring is the wrong word, but I feel bored when I'm watching. I don't feel the excitement that I felt in 2020. I don't feel the excitement that I felt even in 2021, and I certainly don't feel the excitement I felt last season.
Well,
something is off.
Well, yeah, one of the most exciting things in baseball, unboring things, is getting a hit with a runner in scoring position. No one has ever done that worse in baseball than the Padres have done it this season.
Boring to me.
Yeah, when you're not getting hits and runners in scoring position, that is absolutely going to look really, really boring. Now,
then maybe that is the right.
Are they playing too much station to station baseball? They've been actually stealing more bases. They've moved up. They're, in the stolen base lists over the last few weeks. They're trying to run more, do more things, but ultimately, until you get hits in clutch situations, bring home guys, score some runs, put together rallies, string hits together, it's going to look kind of boring. Losing 4-1 is always going to look boring.
It is, and I know they lost games last year 4-1, and I know that they played down sometimes last year. There was something in that team that I believed in with my whole heart. And I was on these airwaves, bitching out fans and saying, the guy called last year when we do our holiday show, when we aired out the grievances. And he's like, oh, Woods tells people how to fan. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I absolutely did. And I got in here and I beat my chest, Ben, and I said, don't give up on this team. Don't. I don't feel that right now. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know I work for the flagship. I know I'm supposed to be positive about it. I don't feel it. It's hard for me to convey it if I don't really believe it. I believed it last year. I believed it wholeheartedly. I don't. I really don't. I haven't given up. I'll be watching today. Jersey Mike's in my hand. Guys, I don't feel the same way. I just don't. I have lost the fervor and the belief in this
you
team.
know what? They need to prove it to you. You know that they have it in them to prove it to you and change your mind. They have the talent to change your mind, but they haven't done so yet. We'll talk about this more.
Is it fight? Is it heart? Is it hustle? I don't know what it is. Johnny says, don't give up on this team. Johnny, I'm with you, dude. Matthew says, Woods has lost the faith. That's it's sad to think about because
I think
again,
there's a difference between giving up on a team and becoming more skeptical about it.
What is giving up means you don't watch it.
No, you're not
going
to do that. You're not going to do that.
I am absolutely not.
You're going to give them a chance to prove you wrong. And that's what they're going to have to do at some point. They're going to have to start proving the doubters and the naysayers wrong. A lot of teams do that. It happens all the time. Almost every single season, there's one or two teams that prove the doubters and the naysayers wrong. We didn't think that would have to be the Padres this year. We were hoping they'd be a team that would prove everybody right at the beginning of the season that said, this is one of the best teams in baseball. This is one of the great offenses we've seen. That hasn't happened. So now they got to prove everybody wrong that thinks, hey, this team is never going to figure it out, and they're going to be at best mediocre and win one, lose one, and they can't go on a winning streak. They have to prove people who are doubting them wrong.
Yeah, Hunter says, I believe in this team until the second they are eliminated. Yeah, I mean, belief and giving up is different. I'm not gonna not watch, and it's not because I have this job. It's not. You guys, we do sports radio, and I'm like, if I don't like a sport, or if you know me, I'm like, I'm not watching it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna not watch. I'm gonna be yelling.
You could have your dream job running a Topgolf right now, and you'd still be watching every Padres game.
100%. I wouldn't miss a pitch, man. I wouldn't miss a pitch. So that's not it. It's just a disappointment is a word, and honestly, it's just a little bit boring.
All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. We need a contestant for Take on Woods. Call now if you want to take on Woods. No qualifiers yet in the month of June for our Vegas getaway. 833-288-0973. It's musical trivia. You know your songs. Give it a try. 833-288-0973. We'll play here in a couple of minutes. But speaking of golf, what a day yesterday with the fallout of the breaking news yesterday morning involving the merger of the PGA Tour and Live Golf, catching just about everybody in the golf world. When Tiger Woods is caught off guard by breaking news, like Tiger didn't see something coming in the world of golf, you know this is an absolutely historic story.
It's bananas.
Will undoubtedly reshape the sport in ways that we can't even picture at the moment.
No, and there's no real clarity on what that's going to look like. No. What we do know is that, like you said, guys have been they've been blindsided by this news.
Well, I mean, this is how unpredictable it is. I couldn't even tell you for sure that there'll be a Farmers Insurance Open next year. They may reshape the calendar and schedule so much with different events and adding, live elements to everything. I don't know that anything is going to exist the way it did in the past. I mean, who knows? The Farmers Insurance Open may become the 5th major next year. There are so many unknowns and options out there of what could happen. But ultimately, the PGA Tour ended up losing this battle with Live Golf.
Massive L.
And here is why it hurts my heart to see what happened yesterday. And it's because Live won despite putting together a pathetic product, a pathetically inferior product. And it's a symptom to me of something we see outside of the world of sports. If you are, let's say you have owned a popular restaurant, for decades, beloved institution in town. People like your food. They've been loyal to you. They come all the time. Guy opens a restaurant next door and his food's terrible. His prices are higher. No one really likes it. No one goes there. No one watches. But he has got so much money, and he sues the restaurant next door because, they made up a health code violation.
He's giving food away.
And our longtime beloved restaurant owner, he's giving food away for free. Do whatever he wants because he's got so much money. And our beloved restaurant owner eventually decides, I can't compete. I can't pay my lawyers as long as this guy can. I can't survive with this guy next door to me, even though I'm putting a better product out. I think that's what happened with the PGA Tour yesterday, and Jay Monahan, their commissioner. He basically said, this legal, they've got hundreds of billions of dollars, trillions of dollars bankrolled, and I have already spent all my money in trying to keep my players and increase my purses, and we can't afford the lawyers, and we can't afford to compete with the prize money they're putting out, and we are going to die if we continue this battle. So we have to kind of raise the white flag, and the only option going forward is to make the best deal they can, and and merge with this organization. That's what I saw yesterday.
I do disagree. I think Jay Monahan was like, you don't do that without talking to your guys. You just don't. And especially with all the tropes that you threw out about 9/11 and Al-Qaeda and all this stuff that you threw out and you use. And, you can't, if you were on the PGA Tour, you can sleep well at night. It's been 1 year. 1 year. If you lose guys to live, you'll survive. People are going to watch the PGA. They're going to watch PGA tournaments. There's still money for PGA tournaments. They still have purses.
I don't know. They've lost a ton of sponsors in the last year who don't want to pay, just going away.
Just going away.
Because they don't want to pay the extra prize money that it was necessary to compete with Live and keep those tournaments afloat. Many tournaments were in trouble.
Them trying to keep up with the Joneses was a problem.
It was.
But you cannot be, and the hypocrite is the right word for him, and he fully addressed it. We'll talk to Alan Shipnuck about it. I don't disagree with you necessarily, but I don't know that they are in the most dire straits yet. I think it was a panic move, and also I think he caved to a lot of dough. I think he's now praising the investor, whereas last year he was a terrorist, is basically what he was calling him.
Here's a little quick audio. We'll just get to it while we're on the topic on him being called a hypocrite, and after that players meeting that he had. Jay Monahan.
I recognize everything that I've said in the past in my prior positions. I recognize that people are going to call me a hypocrite. And anytime I've said anything, I said it with the information I had at that moment.
Stop.
And I said it based.
Did 9/11 change? Because did you say you have the same information about 9/11 yesterday as you did a year ago? Nothing changed. By the way, the 9/11 was actually, we found out, Jay, that everything's cool. They didn't do anything. You're good. You used that as like your whole basis for this last year, the blood money, all of that. And now you're like, I didn't have the right information.
Oh, Jamal Khashoggi's alive?
I didn't have the right information. It's like a hitter. I didn't have the right information on that pitcher last night. Bro, just see the ball and hit the ball. Let's go. Jay Monahan, he's a villain now, like a massive villain. And how does he keep his job? We'll talk to Alan Shipnuck about it. We're running out of time.
All right, we got some people calling in. Let's get to today's game of Take on Woods. All right, Daniel is our contestant this morning, playing to qualify for a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas and 2 tickets to Luke Bryan coming to the Resorts World Theater August 30th to September 9th. Get your tickets and VIP packages at access.com. That's AXS.com or RWLasVegas.com. Let's get right to it, Daniel. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right.
All right, here are your categories. We've got the butcher's knife. Those are answers, meat-related answers. In the dark, musical answers that include the word dark. And we got our mystery category is back. If you choose it, I'll explain that one. So butcher's knife, in the dark, or the mystery category?
I'll try in the dark.
In the dark. All right, turn off the lights because all of our musical answers today include the word dark, song titles and bands. 60 seconds. If you don't know one, we'll come back to it. First question is our musical 2-second song. Paulie will play a short clip. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. Could be a tougher category. We'll see how you do it here. Daniel, you ready to play?
I am.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Daniel. Let's take on Woods.
Dark Horse, Katy Perry.
Correct. Abbreviated OMD. Which band's song If You Leave was featured in the movie Pretty in Pink?
Ooh, stop.
Future friend Courtney Cox was featured in the music video for which Bruce Springsteen song?
Dancing in the Dark.
Correct. The song Money was the biggest hit from which groundbreaking Pink Floyd album?
Dark Side of the Moon.
Correct. Which 1983 hard rock hit by Dio was recently featured in the Marvel movie Thor: Love and Thunder?
Rainbow in the Dark.
Correct. Abbreviated OMD. Which band's song If You Leave was featured in the movie Pretty in Pink?
I got nothing.
That's okay. That's a pretty good score of 4 out of 5 in that category.
Well done.
Very good. The only one you didn't get, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Will that be the difference? Let's bring Woods back in. Dark Horse, Katy Perry. He could have trouble with that one.
Oh, he's not gonna get
Rainbow
that
in the
one.
Dark could be a tough one. I don't know.
I promise you.
I think this is a good chance. Hang on the line there, Daniel. All right, Daniel scores locked in. Woods gets the same 5 questions. Same 60 seconds. He doesn't get the category, makes it tougher. All right, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Daniel.
Pass.
Abbreviated OMD, which band's song If You Leave was
Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark.
Correct. Future friend Courtney Cox was featured in the music video for which Bruce Springsteen song?
Hungry Hearts.
Incorrect. The song Money was the biggest hit from which groundbreaking Pink Floyd album?
The Wall.
Incorrect.
What?
Which 1983 hard rock hit by Dio was recently featured in the Marvel movie Thor: Love and Thunder?
Holy Diver.
Incorrect.
Oh, my God.
Go back to our 2-second song.
I don't know it. I'm out. Would I get one?
You got one.
What is this? I have no idea the category.
Yeah,
I was guessing confidently wrong.
You got
You got
obliterated.
way ahead
4
of
to 1.
yourself.
Daniel
I did. I got excited.
smoked you. So the category is In the Dark.
Okay, let's do it again.
So you still
You're
don't
not
know
gonna-
that song?
you're not gonna
I didn't
know
think
that
you were
one.
going to get
No.
that song.
What
Daniel
is it?
did, though. That's
That's
Dark
Dark
Horse by
Horse.
Katy Perry. You got OMD. Dancing in the Dark
That's it.
was the
I said
Courtney
Hungry
Cox. You
Heart.
said Hungry Heart. Now the Pink Floyd album is Dark Side
It's
of the
Dark
Moon.
Side of the Moon, and then it's Rainbow in the
Rainbow in the Dark.
Dark. Stupid. Just give me the categories from now on.
That ends a nice long winning streak by
It does.
Woods and qualifies Daniel
Joy.
not only for the trip to Vegas, but a Daily Diddy song as well. If you want to choose one
It's smoked.
for tomorrow, then Daniel, congratulations. Stay on the line. Paulie will get your information during the break, and then we'll come back with Don't Do This. next.
I'm skeptical of a weight loss thing that I saw yesterday. I'm not
Interesting.
saying I'm not saying that it's not possible.
Also going to talk about over celebrating in Don't Do This. I'm just not sure what perspective we're going to hit
I
it
don't
from.
really know.
That's coming up next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot, you moron.
Dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't Do This
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Grillin', chillin', and home run hitting. You can listen to Padres baseball on your smart speaker. Just tell your device to play 97.3 The Fan. And speaking of the Padres, as we get to Don't Do This, do you think that they had any idea when they brought out the swag chain a couple of years ago that it would become so omnipresent in sports, especially in baseball at all levels? The home run celebration, the prop-filled celebrations.
Did we start it in
Kind
baseball?
of. I'm sure they're the first one that ever did nothing. They did the
turnover
chain.
Yeah.
But in baseball, I don't remember seeing much before the swag chain with the Padres.
Well, we got a good look at that Mariners trident last night a couple of times.
Yep.
That's cool.
But here's my don't do this, and it comes from the college softball level where Oklahoma has taken those celebrations kind of to the next level.
I saw this. Are you gonna rip these ladies for what
I
they
don't know.
do?
I maybe.
Well, did you hear the explanation why? You can't give the
All
story.
right,
and I'll tell you why.
so Oklahoma they celebrate a lot. I mean, when they hit a home run, they have these like stacks of like fake $100 bills that they rain. They make it rain on the players as they come back into the dugout. Their version of the swag chain or the sombrero or whatever teams do, but they celebrate everything. Like an intentional walk is celebrated almost like a walk-off home run. They go crazy over absolutely everything, and it's rubbing their opponents the wrong way. They're getting a lot of criticism on social media from fans who are all going, hey, tone it down. Come on, show some class out there. Their coach, Patty Gasso, said Tuesday, she tells her players, you got to be unapologetic for the way you play your game. You've worked so hard to get here, basically stop caring about what other people think.
Paulie, ring the bell on him.
What did I say?
Women have worked so hard to get here, yet are still judged for those things. That's the way we play. That's what people enjoy, or you don't. You either like it or you don't. We're not going to apologize for these players knowing the game and celebrating.
I think that don't do this is the people who are criticizing.
Okay,
them.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that don't do this is especially because Oklahoma never loses. They've won 51 straight games. They've won 2 straight championships and are going for their 3rd one.
If it works,
if you want them to stop celebrating, beat them. They have reason to celebrate everything. And why change anything? Something that's working as well as it's working. Celebrate it. Celebrate the heck out of it.
One of the best players, Jada Coleman. So she stays off of her social media accounts because that would fire me up and maybe just want to do it even more. I relate to that very much. Jada, she says, I really don't get it. I feel like we're continuously in softball itself just breaking barriers. I've seen it with my own eyes. I feel like it's very disappointing to see people trying to tear us down in that type of way. You're seeing it in the MLB, you're seeing it in the NBA or NFL throwing their helmets, having emotion. Like, why can't we have emotion? We're in the same stakes as them. We're athletes just like them. Why can't we wear our emotions on our sleeves?
Maybe the Padres need to celebrate more. They need to lean into it. And
I think they
add to their celebrations.
They have.
They know they've been cutting back. There's no piñatas.
You got to
win.
win.
Sombrero's gone.
Yeah.
Maybe they are not celebrating enough. They're not enjoying themselves enough. But you'd be mad if they started celebrating more.
No, I wouldn't. The boomer that lives inside me that tries to get out like Teen Wolf, he would be mad.
That boomer is like screaming to get out.
You ever see Alien where the thing's coming out of the guy's chest?
It's protruding right now.
See it. He's like, like to see some business-like wins. That's what I would like to see very soon. All business, baby. So I don't know how to feel. I wish I knew how to feel. I don't. I know I'm supposed to have strong takes. I don't. This was interesting too. I don't know how to feel about this. Former football player Russell Okung. I saw this headline yesterday and I went, whoa. Said he lost 100 pounds by fasting. And I said, oh, I've heard of this. Intermittent intermittent fasting. I've done a little bit of that before, the old 16-8.
Haven't we all tried that?
Yeah, we've all tried it. And, honestly, some days you do intermittent fasting, you're like, I'm full of energy. Some days you're like, I'm starving. I will eat I'll eat anything at this point. But what I didn't realize, he lost 100 pounds in 40 days by fasting. He just had water. That's what he says.
Not intermittent. We're
No
talking
intermittent.
It's just fasting.
Fasting, no food.
He drank
water.
as much water until he kind of felt full and could go on with his day.
He went 40 straight days ingesting
So he
nothing but
starved
water.
himself.
Yes. Now,
I thought you had to eat at some
thought,
point or you would
like,
die.
You need.
I mean,
Am
I
I
know they say-
mistaken here?
I know they say you can go a few days without food. Water. If you go more than like 2 or 3 days, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, you have to drink your own
But
pee-pee.
but you can go like a week or whatever, 10 days, whatever, without food.
Yeah.
You won't. It won't be pleasant, but you will survive.
Were
But
there
40 days without eating
So
at all?
I did a 3-day juice fast. I was seeing like
I mean,
specters.
juice had calories at
and,
least.
yeah. I did a 3-day fast juice.
Did he
fast.
take supplements at least?
That he's saying all he had was water. That's it. Like he's in the hole somewhere in a prison.
Even in the hole, they give you more than they
You
give
get
bread
bread
water.
in the hole, I think, right? Even in the hole, you
Just
get
water.
bread. So he says the journey from being a 330-pound NFL football player to 100 pounds lighter has been unreal. Number one question I keep hearing is, how'd you do it? Answer, I fasted for 40 days with nothing but water. Yes, you read right. The experience was so rich and rewarding, I'm going to do it again. It's not just about weight loss. It's about regeneration, healing, and self-discovery. I'm quieting my physical hunger. I unlocked mental clarity and spiritual revelation, a total reset. As an athlete, I was always told to eat big, stay strong. I never questioned, but breaking away, embracing fasting, it changed everything. I'm not just lighter in weight. I'm lighter in spirit. He
So
said
he'll do it again. He'll be 130.
He said the benefits are profound. Clearer skin, better digestion. Oh, yeah. You have nothing to digest. Improved mental focus. Even my joint pain has decreased. I'm peeing so much more. Yeah. You're drinking water for 40 days.
I mean, you literally
Can you
wouldn't-
do this?
You wouldn't have a bowel movement for a month.
I need. Don't ever say that. Just say poop or doo doo. Be normal. A bowel movement. Is this possible?
I don't know. Do we have a doctor?
Did he
who
not
can-
take not one vitamin, not one
There
nutrient
must
in his
have been
body?
some supplements.
There
or
had to
something.
be.
Wouldn't your body
Something?
like seize up with nothing?
Wouldn't you go crazy? I couldn't do it. So yeah, he did it. He says he did it. I guess. I mean, the picture of him is staggering.
Keeping it in the NFL for a little doo-doo this.
Doo-doo. See?
Yeah.
It's easy.
Hey, it's easy.
Bowel movement this.
Just more good news for DeMar Hamlin. He is back. Went through his first full pads and helmet practice with the Buffalo Bills at OTA yesterday as he continues his comeback from, essentially death. He died, and they brought him back to life.
Yeah.
And now he's coming back to full status in the NFL, and it's really one of the most amazing stories in the past year in pro sports to see what DeMar Hamlin has gone through, and the fact that he is using it now in a good way, and he's inspiring, and he's teaching people about emergency preparedness, defibrillation training, CPR, things like that. All a good story, and all a do this, and it's all something that it's good to follow here with what he's been up to.
Yeah, here's how I feel about that. If he's happy, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right? It scares me to death.
And doctors say he's okay to go back, then he's okay.
Yeah. It scares me to death, but if he's happy and that's what he wants, good for him.
And that's don't and do this for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Bowel movement this.
Bowel movement this.
All right, we'll come back. Padres fans, we'll continue our discussion from a little bit earlier. Woods, he called the team boring, which is a fairly big insult to a baseball team to be called boring. It's almost worse than being
Just
called
pissed
bad.
off 26 guys,
I mean,
maybe more. Very upset with you.
it's fine. I don't think they care. I really don't. About me, about my opinion. My opinion is my opinion. They're boring. I'm bored watching them. They're boring.
Every other day.
Every other day.
They're boring.
Yeah. But the general overall vibe this year, winning one and losing one is boring. That's boring baseball. That's the definition of boring, mediocre baseball.
We'll talk about it because I don't think they have boring players
They
by any
absolutely
stretch
don't.
of the imagination. Usually a boring team, you got to go out and get some exciting players, spend some money, go out and get some good players.
They've done that.
So that's obviously not it. We'll talk about it next.
Yet they have done that. Yet people are screaming at the bottom third of the Gary Sanchez, Trent Grisham, Austin Nola. They're screaming at those guys. That's who they're screaming at.
We'll talk about it next on 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Hint Water. Delicious fruit-infused water with 0 sweeteners and 0 calories. Could Russell Okung have had Hint Water during his 40 days of nothing but water?
That qualifies.
So people are tweeting or not tweeting. I don't tweet. People are putting in the chat the benefits of fasting. I'm very aware of the benefits of fasting. I know it's a nice reset for your body. 40 days of just water. Not a vitamin, not a mineral. Whatever you get from the water that you're drinking, that's all you get. 40 days? Could you go a day with just drinking water?
One day?
All right,
Yeah, it would be unpleasant, but I
let's
can
try
make it a day. Hint's 25 flavors include blackberry, coconut, and blueberry lemon in stores or at hintwater.com. Russell.
40 days.
All right. Let me ask you a question. We're going to check traffic here, but you said the Padres are playing boring baseball. Is that accurate? No. So you're bored right now.
No. So the overall, I'm looking at this as an overall picture, right? The record is mediocre. The play on the field every other day is mediocre. The overall experience is a boring one. Does that make sense?
Right. Well, then what would make a game more exciting for you?
Wins.
Can a winning team be boring?
Man, that's a good problem to have. That's Cadillac problem.
Fine, but I'm just trying to kind of
I'd say
nail it down.
I'd say the Dodgers last year winning 111 games, they were so surgical in it, and they have boring looking players. But boy, that must have been fun to watch, until the playoffs. But the 111 wins, I'd love to watch 111 wins. Sign me up for that boredom and level of surgical precision every day.
Let's open up the phone lines.
Okay.
I don't know that I'm not feeling you necessarily, but that's okay.
Are you not?
833-288-0973. I'm frustrated. I don't know that I'm bored.
Maybe I've stopped allowing myself.
You're channeling it in a different direction
way.
now.
Like that game last night, it did not cost me one wink of sleep. Really, I watched it. I kind of knew the outcome, which by the way is boring. If you see a movie or a TV show, you know the outcome. What is that? It's boring. I watched it and I went, all right, good night.
That's kind of fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you feel like a team is very predictable.
Yes, predictable.
And you know that they
Predictable
can't
boring.
come back and lose. I see that. Yeah, I see that.
Don't we all get bored with the mundane aspects of life sometimes? Yeah. Life can be boring. Sometimes we need boring in our life. Sometimes you need it. I'd love a boring 9-game winning streak of demolishing teams. Those shows are hard to do when the team's rolling. We come in here, we're like,
we expect us to
they kick some ass again. Hell yeah. All right. What else do you guys want to talk about? Because they're cruising right now.
833-288-0973. You can sound off on this coming up next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danek.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Well, this crash involving a motorcycle has been moved over the right shoulder on northbound 5 before E Street. Still seeing a little residual slowing out of the South Bay. Now collision on the coastline, southbound 5 near Lucadia. Everything in the center divide. Brought to you by the easiest casino to drive to. Viejas is just 25 minutes from downtown San Diego and one simple exit off the 8 freeway. No topsy-turvy, poorly lit roads are needed to win big. Arrive safely at San Diego's luxury gaming destination, Viejas Casino and Resort. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right. I have seen some boring baseball in my time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have as well.
Very much.
When a team's best player is a mediocre Chase Headley, that's a boring baseball team. I find it hard to say with credibility that a team with Fernando Tatis Jr., who is not a boring player at all, a team with Juan Soto and Manny Machado could be a boring baseball team.
I know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. But their record is what they are. I think the better point that I made today, if I may toot my own horn, is they are rounding into the team that they are. That's what's hard to accept. That's the more concise point is they're really showing us who they are. And because of the weighted expectations, it's now apathy. Janine in the chat says apathy is setting in for a lot of fans. Apathy is the devil. It's just the devil. If you're apathetic about your life, your marriage, your kids, your job, that's when I have to fight myself hard, because I can get apathetic, and that is like the devil.
I can tell you though, even last night when they're down 4-1, any night this week, even as they've been losing, I will not leave the television when Tatis, Soto, and Machado come up. Are they coming up in the next inning? And I can't go anywhere. I can't leave. I can't do anything else. I need to see those at-bats. To me, that's still exciting. Now, hey, if I know that the 7, 8, 9 hitters are coming up and I got to get something done quickly, I'll be listening, kind of half watching, half listening, but I feel like I can focus on something else when the bottom of the lineups coming up and not worry about it too much.
Because a few months ago, like before the season started, that is not what we were saying. We were saying, when are you going to, I mean, shorter games.
When are you going to take a break?
When the hell are you ever going to go grab a beer or something? You can't.
Bro, can they
leave.
speed this up?
I fully remember.
I'm with you. I've been at 2 games in the last week, and both times we're thinking about, you want to hit the team store on the way out or something. I'm like, let's wait one more half inning. Like, let's see Tatis, Machado, Soto. Like, let's see the top of the order. But now it's like you got 5 or 6 spots in the line. You're like,
I fully remember the spring training conversation. All right, well, you got the big 4 and then Jake Cronenworth. So they'll get up in the first inning, and even in a batting, a couple of them are going to get on, and they're going to have a rally. So you're probably going to get 6 or 7 guys up there, and then maybe every once in a while the bottom third won't have a great inning, but then they'll be right back to the top, and eventually they're going to wear out the starting pitcher who's going to make mistakes to the bottom of the order, and then the top of the order is just going to get up faster. And by the 5th inning, those guys will blend up 4 times, and the Padres will have 6 or 7 runs. And we had this conversation.
There was a confidence. We sat down with damn near every player on the roster, honestly, and the manager, and the general manager, and the owner. Every single one of them thought the exact same thing. So as frustrated as we are, the head scratching going on, down at Petco Park right now has got to be at an all-time high. Bob Melvin said, "Yeah, man, it's been fun. I kind of sit up at night and think about where am I going to bat these guys? And hell, at this point, 1 through 4, you're just going to have to figure out the right combo. We haven't yet. Nobody can stay healthy or on the same page or get hot at the same time. Cronenworth I thought would be a major beneficiary to all of this. You're gonna take a batter off or 2. Nobody's taking any batters off, or we just forgot how to hit. It has gone 180 degrees from where we thought it would, and maybe that is playing into it a little bit. But no, I'm fighting the apathy now. Again, just to clarify, I'm not like throwing in the towel as some bandwagoner. I'm not. I'm there. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna support. I'm gonna wear the gear. I'm gonna be proud of them when they win and play well.
You're beginning to acknowledge and accept that this is who this team
they
is.
are, and that sucks.
So they're 61 games in. How many games out of the 61 would you say have played out that way that we talked about? The top 4 stars in a lineup have all kind of been matched. I would say none, honestly. I mean, Tatis wasn't there for the first 20.
Yep, so take those out.
Soto was really cold early. Xander was good early, but then he's been hurt and ice cold. And Manny has really not, other than a game or 2, has really been poor all year long.
I would say now it's 2021, and we're saying we haven't played our best baseball.
Because I remember a game, well, maybe even last week. Maybe it was the 10. Was it when they scored
against Miami?
Yeah, when I was like, that's what this team is capable. That's the ceiling.
That was maybe the closest they've got.
Yeah,
I think all 4 guys were in the lineup. Yeah. But even though Manny and Xander aren't quite Manny and Xander yet.
But you're right, man. We have not seen the Tatis leadoff double. Soto doubles him in. Manny hits a bomb, and then Xander doubles in the gap. And Cronenworth comes in, drives him in. Then whoever's going to hit this. We weren't expecting Gary Sanchez, but Sanchez hits a single. We haven't seen the firepower yet.
Not really once.
And I don't know if we will. I don't. It's hard to grasp, and that leads to bigger and deeper conversations.
I mean, let's just call it top 4 guys. 4 at bats a game. That's 16 at bats. Can those 4 ever go? I don't know, 12 for 16?
Right. Certainly capable of it.
It should be.
Or even 8 for 16. I mean,
8 for 16 would be a miracle.
But I'm saying to achieve that kind of standard that we had before the season started, like 12 for 16, 13 for 16,
Well,
just absolutely dominating a team. I don't know.
Well, we got some calls on the line. Let's get a couple in before the top of the hour. Our friend Justin, I'm sure, wants to talk about his Padres. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, guys. How we doing?
Doing great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, same.
Super.
Yeah, so I gotta agree with Woodsy. Super boring. The beauty of baseball is the uncertainty. You've got no clock. You have no idea what could possibly happen. You could be down 6 runs, but the pattern is what's killing me. If they score 6, 7, 8 runs today, I would love to be thrilled, but I'm throwing something through my television. I can't handle the pattern anymore of the 8, the 1, the 6, the 1. It's driving me absolutely bonkers, and everything feels so like you said. You knew it was, when we went down 2-1 yesterday. You knew we weren't going to come back after that. You knew it was over at that point.
That should put you at ease, though. Now you know. Just watch every other game.
Right? Yeah. Especially
watch today. Take Friday off.
Watching Gilbert throw, and you get down, and when Honeywell threw it, and I saw it leave the yard, I went, "Oh, that should not be the case with the talent on this team. It just shouldn't be, and it is." And fingers are pointing everywhere. And I told you so, and I knew this, and I knew that, and. Again, I'm going to lean back on spring training, and everybody. The excitement for this team was fever pitch, and to watch them struggle so hard is hard, man. It's tough. It's tough to watch because you know how tense it is in that clubhouse. It's so tense. And things leak out, and the Fishers thing is absolutely real, and I don't know that guys are getting along. And everyone's probably looking at over their shoulder at the other guy, and that is not a good way to win.
But no teams get along when they're losing.
Correct.
There's no team. Hey, we may be in dead last, but boy, we love it, and we're all happy about it.
I mean, I wonder if the A's, who had zero expectations, are like, we're just going to go out and play
pretty
ball.
Probably unhappy in that clubhouse as well.
Yeah, maybe
that losing's not fun.
Yeah, losing sucks.
I know for a fact that the pattern will break at some point.
One way or the other.
My worry is that it'll break because
way.
They put together 4 or 5 games in which they can't score again. It has to break the other way now. They've gotten to the point that when this pattern breaks, nothing killer about playing 500 baseball for a couple of weeks. Every team goes through those stretches, but you have to break out of it the other way.
Yeah,
you have to put together some games. I mean, Bob Melvin's been saying it every single day.
A couple quick numbers for you before we go to break here and reset the show. Padres would have to go 54-47 for the rest of the season to have a winning season. That is
540 winning percentage.
540 winning. Yeah.
Outrageous,
right. But the Padres would have to go 62-39 for the rest of the season to win 90 games. 62
over 600 winning percentage.
614. Their winning percentage so far is 460.
Now teams play 600 ball over long stretches. Good teams do that.
Can this team do it?
We will see.
Question.
All right, we will come back. Reset the show coming up at 8:00 with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's me in the locker room screaming at the bats. Wake up.
Wake up!
Wake up! Welcome back. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. We are halfway home on a Wednesday. And, just kind of mulling it all over. Lots of vitriol, lots of disappointment, lots of apathy. It's the whole package. It's like the most disgusting buffet you could ever go to. You could get a plate full of vitriol, hate, disappointment, apathy. It's all of it. It's the worst buffet of all time. Your San Diego Padres so far in the 2023 season. There is time to turn it around. There's ample time to turn it around. There absolutely is. And we will all be parked in front of the TV today or listening on the radio or however you consume it, just to see if there is some sort of spark, if they can go out and play. Now, the guy they're going up against today is George Kirby. Very good. Again, Logan Gilbert was coming off a really poor start against the Yankees and looked really good last night. George Kirby is coming off a phenomenal start against the Yankees. He shut them down. They got a good young pitching staff there and got contributions last night from some of their better players and just nice 4-1 win for the Mariners last night. Padres will counter today with whom? It will be
Michael Wacha,
who has been really, really good. So, the Padres have turned to him more than they expected to this season, and he's been a really, really good find for AJ Preller. And Ruben Niebla has done a great job with him as well. And hopefully he can keep it to 0 runs is pretty much what we're asking.
I think I put my finger on something during the break as we were thinking about this and the apathy. And I think part of the problem is that a win doesn't get us excited anymore.
That's it.
Because today
we don't complain about wins.
No, you don't complain about it.
They don't get us excited.
The Padres could very well, because the pattern tells us that today they could have a great day, go out and win 7-1. And normally, on a normal season, I would take that as a very good sign of a team putting it together. Look, all right, here, things are getting better. Don't worry about it. I'd enjoy the day off tomorrow and go feel good about the weekend in Colorado. Hey, they're hitting in Petco Park. They're going to go and they're going to mash in Colorado.
Yeah, don't forget, we get to, as nervous as we are about the pitching, we get to hit there too. And boy, look at our team.
And normally a win would make me feel good. But today they could win 18-1. Not going to really believe it or get any confidence out of it.
I'm bummed
because of the way the pattern has gone over these last couple of weeks.
And also, it's seemingly lately, like, it feels like they've gotten a nice win and then they have a day off the next day and you're like, oh, cool. But they don't get momentum even after wins that they don't have a day off. So it's just been a bit of a slog. And I can't tell you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, how much I appreciate the Tier 1 sticking with us through this. It's as we navigate it with you. I mean, I gotta be honest, I probably wouldn't listen to me every day if the team was playing like this. So I really appreciate those of you that do. And it is what it is. There's other really exciting stories going on in the world of sports as well. We'll be joined by Alan Shipnuck, who is one of the just best authors, golf minds out there. He has been very vocal about the LIV PGA stuff. I can't wait to get his thoughts on the merger. I wish we could do an hour with him. Frankly, I would do the Shipnuck hour from 9 to 10 today. Certainly, we would also talk to our pal Corey Brock, who writes for The Athletic, covers the Mariners. Catch up with him. It's been a while. Now, he was bragging about Matt Brash the last time we talked to him. Matt Brash isn't doing all that much, I don't think. Andres Munoz, on the other hand, definitely one of the ones that got away. Pitched really well last night. Looks really, really sharp for the Mariners. So we will get to that. But we were talking, Ben, earlier about the merger, the cash rules everything around everything. That's just the way that it works. PGA and LIV have merged. I told a story about my mom's boss that sat me down when I was probably 19 and told me, as I was embarking after graduating high school, now you got to work hard and go try to get FU money. And it's the first time I'd ever heard that phrase, FU money. And I will never have it, which is fine. I don't know that I would do well with it. To be honest, I feel like it's predetermined who can handle it and who can't. I don't think I can handle it. But you said you also got the same treatment
Well,
from
you know,
somebody.
we were both lucky in growing up that we had family members who wanted to help us, who were in a position to maybe give us certain advantages, connect us with people.
Yeah.
That, might be able to, help give us some
Steer us.
advice, whatever, steer us in the right direction. And your story reminded me of a story I had as I was, finishing up in college, and I was 20 or 21 years old. And I thought what I would really like to do is get into sport. I want to be a sportscaster. This is what I wanted to do in my life, but it's a tough job to get into. So as I've told you many times, my grandfather was the doctor for the Los Angeles Lakers. He had so many connections in
Like
the
the
sports
most.
world. Chick Hearn and Vin Scully were two of his great friends.
You could have gone to Vin Scully for advice.
Absolutely. But one person he did said, you need to go meet with this guy. And his name was Ed Hook Stratton. He was as high-powered of a entertainment and sportscasting agent as there was in the business.
How cool.
He said, here, go meet with him. He's not going to take you on as a client, but he might be able to point you in the right direction, give you some words of advice. And I remember, getting myself dressed up and driving myself to his office in Beverly Hills, in a
intimidating.
in a very, there's a receptionist, and then sends you into this giant, he's got big wooden desk, giant leather chair, books all over the place, very important looking office in a very swanky building in Beverly Hills, California.
How great.
And I don't know, in the business, I know nothing about anything yet. I've interned one place,
and
essentially.
you've called some high school basketball games. You've done some Pomona College baseball or something.
But in terms of actual work, very little experience. And I remember just kind of being terrified as I walked into high-powered, attorney agent's office to get the what's what in the sportscasting business.
You got Bob Sugar trying to close a deal.
Yeah, in the next room, exactly.
And honestly, 20 years later, there's very little I actually remember about what he told me. It was, it was too much for me at the moment. But the first thing I remember sitting down, Ben Higgins looks at me. Ben Higgins. Well, we don't have to change your name. That's good. That'll work. That'll work as a sportscaster. You can be Ben Higgins. And I go, I was possibly going to have to change my name after this
Dan
meeting.
Stevens.
Yeah,
Dan Stevens.
If he didn't like my name,
Brock Landers.
if he didn't think
Ben
it
Hoggins.
sounded sportscastery enough,
He was gonna
we
make
were
you
coming
change
up with a brand new name in that meeting,
Oh my
apparently.
God.
But he said, "No, Ben Higgins, that works. You don't have to change your name." And I said, "Oh, good. I didn't even realize I could potentially have to change my name at the end of this meeting." But it reminded me of that story of trying to meet with someone wise who's been in the business for decades. It's very hard. We have people who ask us for advice nowadays.
It's very hard.
Come in
man.
and how can we get into sports talk radio? What can we do? And I always feel bad because my answer is generally, I don't really know.
I really don't either.
I don't think you can duplicate my path to this job. And
Certainly can't duplicate mine.
I don't think you can duplicate Woods's path. So I always tell people, whatever you can do to get your foot in the door.
Get in the building.
Get in the building.
That's
You
number
may
one.
be on the wrong side of the building. You may be on the wrong floor of the building. But being in the building is way better than handing out resumes and knocking on doors and trying to get into the building. So don't turn down an opportunity to get into the building, because once you're in the building, you can at least perhaps, hey, I can help you out with that. There can be opportunities inside the building that don't happen when you're outside.
Oh, but by the way, once you get into the building, make sure you don't tell anybody that you want to do another job inside the building. That's a major. Hey, you started in promotions. I remember a kid started day one and he goes, I want to do what you do. And I'm like, you got some time, bro. I mean, you can, but you can't. It's not going to happen this week or tomorrow. So you got to temper, like this team. You have to temper your
for sure.
expectations.
I am sure other businesses are similar. Like getting into the music industry, that seems
Very difficult.
very difficult.
Very difficult.
We met a band last night. Shout out to a tier one who actually was a federal judge, just recently retired.
Yeah.
He said, I used to listen on my way in every single morning to the courthouse. Mitch Dembin and his band was playing last night at the golf tournament. Limited jurisdiction.
You have to do it if you're a judge. You have to name your
Something legal.
something
sounding.
legal. Limited jurisdiction was his band.
Yeah. And he said, "Yeah, I'm a big fan of the show. Listen, used to listen on the way in. Now I can listen. I listen at home since I'm not going into the courthouse every day and serving as a federal judge." But even he said, talking about as he was standing up and doing his in between songs
banter,
talks.
his Paul Stanley,
talking about putting together his albums, and I don't know what they're even called when they're digital anymore. My songs,
right?
I have some CDs, but I don't actually have an album out, sort of thing. It's tough to get into music. A lot of people want to get into music.
Of course they do. Everything that you perceive as a cool job is very, very hard to get into, which is why I try to, even though I can be apathetic about this team. I'm never apathetic about this show, and I'm never apathetic about our audience, and I'm never apathetic about this city. Those are three things that will always be top of mind for me. But no, it's just been a tough season. It has. It's been a very, very tough season, and I know it's been a tough season on those players, and I know that it just feels very, very dire, and it feels very kind of embarrassed. You're embarrassed a little bit, I know I am, and I know those players probably are as well. This is not supposed to be where the Padres were residing right now. They were not. They should have turned the corner by now. It does lead to, we talked about it a little bit before the show started. April's early. May's early. You can say it's early. June, once the calendar turns, it's no longer early. You got kind of a third of the season done. July is really, forgive the term, but it's really like nut cutting time. Now it's time to.
Would you be as panicked if you were a fan of the Phillies right now? I think they're a game ahead of the Padres. They won 1-0 yesterday over the Tigers on a Schwarber home run and a nice outing by Taijuan Walker.
It's a good question.
Or do you feel like, no worries, we got to the World Series last year. We're going to be fine.
So am I a Phillies fan?
No.
Because if I'm a Philly fan in Philly, then yes, I'm livid about the Phillies because that's what they do.
That's what you do.
They're not necessarily apathetic. They're like the opposite, I would imagine. They're like screaming for people's heads. And believe me, there are Padre fans that are absolutely screaming for people's heads. The boomer inside of me is starting to crawl out and scream for people's heads as well. Trying to be pragmatic about it.
Do you think, as Woods, though, do you think they're going to turn it around and be okay? How about the Mets? They're under 500. They lost to the Braves yesterday. They're under 500 as well. They spend more money on their team than the Padres or anybody in baseball.
Yeah.
Is it panic time for the New York Mets at this point?
I'm starting.
If you say no
Benny,
to the Mets and Phillies, then you kind of have to say no to the Padres still as well.
And I am starting to question everything I thought I knew about this game. I don't think the Mets will turn it around. I don't think the Phillies will turn it around. And I'll be honest, I don't think I think they can, but I don't know that they will. And I wonder when that realization is really going to set in. 100+ games to go. And I don't.
So you do believe in the Diamondbacks and the Pirates and the Marlins. Those are the three. Those would be your three playoff teams right now.
What I think with every
technically
loss,
the Dodgers would be the wild card team. The Diamondbacks actually passed them last night.
I think with every loss that the Padres have, what you're doing is you're putting more stock in what other teams are doing instead of controlling your own destiny and winning the games that you should and can. And we expected you to win, right? So, like you just bring up those three teams, right. Benny, I can't sit here and say I think the Pirates, the Marlins, and the
Diamondbacks.
The Diamondbacks are leading the division, so I'm believing.
All better than the Padres.
The record says they are.
It is. Now, head to head, Padres beat the Marlins.
Yeah,
just 2 out of 3.
Beat the Diamondbacks.
They beat the Diamondbacks. I think 4 out of 6. They haven't played the Pirates yet, but head to head, Padres have shown there's no reason they can't be better than those teams. But those are the 3 teams they're trying to chase down at this point.
Yeah, Matthew says it's panic time if you're under 500. Getting to 500 seems like a watermark for this team. If you can get to 500 and then you win one and lose, but this is not supposed to be a 500 team. They're just not. Well, they're not supposed to be.
There's only 6 teams that are above 500 in the National League.
I know.
That's what I was thinking about yesterday.
Will make the playoffs.
I said it yesterday. I was like, look, I'm going to be happy if they win tonight, meaning last night. I'll be happy, but let's win, I don't know, 3 in a row before we start planning the parade again.
Yeah.
It's
Cancel the parade.
You know what? Let's get to 500 before we start asking if this team's turned a corner.
Correct. Yeah,
Let's get to
you can't. It's a good point. They go out and score 10 runs today.
Great.
How many corners have we turned? I mean, we've all said it. We've all used that. I think they're starting to heat up. We like what we're seeing. We liked, even in a loss, we liked what we saw out of the offense and all that garbage. And that's what it is at this point. It's just garbage. It's just garbage. I mean, until you start playing, until you start winning 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. That's what this team is rounding into, a not good form right now. That's what they're rounding into. And you're seeing it. They're consistently inconsistent every single day. So it would be cool to see the Pirates and the Marlins and teams like that make the playoffs. It would. I think that's awesome. They're exceeding expectations. Nothing worse than coming in with expectations and way underachieving. That's tough. That's a tough pill for a fan to swallow.
All right, when we come back, the incorporator, Jesse, if you missed it early in the show, how did he work the word bioturbation into the broadcast last night? Plus, we got more injury updates. Xander Bogaerts missed a 3rd straight game. Is he coming back today? Will we see him? Some pitching news on the comeback road for the San Diego Padres.
Paulie, I want you to bring up the tweet that our pal Craig Elston at 619 Sports sent last night. I didn't see it. You brought it to my attention. I want to peel that apart a little bit. It's talking about why the Padres are so reluctant to put guys on the IL and how that really hamstrings this team. And I love Craig and I really respect him. I may have a slightly different take on that. And I wanted to see what you thought about.
All right, we'll come up, have that discussion next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. First to check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. for the Lake Elsinore Storm has been getting the attention of some of those national media types, the Keith Laws and the Rob Nyers, who are tweeting things like, wow, how young this kid is and already having success at the single A level at Lake Elsinore. So now there's a positive story for you with the San Diego Padres. Also, looks like they're getting some players back. Xander Bogaerts did not play for a third straight game yesterday, but they also didn't put him on the injured list.
Read the tweet, Paulie. I want to get your thoughts.
And there's the thought that he could be back as soon as today. Also, there's the thought they could hold him out one more day and then he gets tomorrow's off day and comes back on Friday. But the Padres have been trying to hold him out and not put him on the injured list.
Yeah, our buddy Craig posted, who we'll actually talk to tomorrow instead of Friday this week. Tomorrow at 7:35. First, he had a thought on Jake Cronenworth and that contract extension. They said also the Padres are catering to veteran players at the detriment of the club's performance on the field. If a player is hurt and can't perform for multiple games, they need to go on the IL so you have a real bench, if nothing else, and some options.
It is very hamstringing for Bob Melvin and his staff to have 3, 2, sometimes guys that you are just can't go. Everybody's going to get a day off. And that's the manager's dream is like, hey, Manny, we're going to get you off your feet today, and you're not going to DH either. You're sitting. So don't expect to get in the game. You get up 7-1. You're like, oh, man, that worked out swimmingly for us. Like, that is perfect. Got Manny off his feet. Hassan Kim filled in admirably, got a couple knocks, and we win. That's the dream. Getting your star players rest. What happens with this team is, man, he's like, I don't want to go on the IL. I don't want to go on the IL. I don't want to go on the IL. 3, 4 games go by. All right, we're going to put you on the IL. Xander's been out 3 days. Trent's out, back spasms, whatever it is. My only question to Craig and you and anybody else out there listening is, okay, so you put him on the IL. Who's replacing them? Who? Give me legit names of guys that are coming up and replacing Xander Bogaerts, Trent Grisham, Manny Machado at the time was Brandon Dixon, who has had a couple of hits and a sac fly that very much excited me. That was probably the most excited I've been about Padres baseball in weeks, was watching that sac fly that he hit the other day. Who are the guys that are going to come up and fill out and round out that bench? Who's ready? Who's knocking at the door?
Well, no one jumps to mind, but then again,
you got to have somebody.
Gary Sanchez wasn't necessarily expected to do anything. You have to give a guy an opportunity before he can surprise you, and a guy who's injured and can't play can't surprise you.
Correct.
Rougned Odor surprised us for the last few weeks in how well he's played. Had he not been given a shot in the lineup, then he wouldn't have been able to do that.
True. Yeah, that's true. But you can't. It's hard to have a team been of 4 of those guys, right? Like 4 or 5. Brandon Dixon, Rougned Odor.
It's a little bit easier now that there's a designated hitter.
So somebody says Iglesias, Sullivan, and Azokar. All right, we've seen Sullivan, and that's fine. But you have Sanchez, and you have Nola helping Sanchez. Seemingly, I'm good with the 2 catchers. It's fine. Brett Sullivan's not going to add much offensively or defensively or base running to this team.
Poor Brett Sullivan.
He's fine, yeah. But I mean, was never supposed to be in this position. This guy, Michael, says it's not about replacing them. It's about having a body. Say Kim gets hurt. If Xander's not able, that's what I'm asking you. Who are these bodies? Is it Iglesias? Okay. Bring them up. But
it's a body.
But is it?
We're not expecting much, but it's better than nothing.
It's better than not being able to go to them. And I fully agree with that.
But the counter argument is having a guy for 2 days ready to jump in case someone gets hurt, but might not play at all. Is that worth knowing you are now benching Xander Bogaerts for a week when he may be healthy enough to play for that week?
Right.
And that's what the Padres are hoping, that they don't have to lose a week of healthy Xander Bogaerts because they put him on an IL for a 4-day injury.
Yeah.
So they're gambling on the fact that they can get him back.
Yeah, Mike Burns says, I do notice how other teams like the Yankees, Dodgers, and others not afraid to put people on the IL. Pods will hold out until the last minute. Aaron Judge made that play in LA. Did you see that where he ran through the fence open? He banged his toe on the concrete. They're like 10-day IL. You're done. You're not going to fight through a toe injury, and they're battling there in the AL East too. It is odd. There is a thing here where it's
now
like
they put Manny on the IL with the
after
broken
4 days though, or
thumb,
5 days,
broken hand.
It took a while. Remember, it took at least 3 games. Well,
you can retro. You
retro
up to 3 days. You can retroactive.
They wait.
So Xander's now past that point.
So
every day is just a lost day. If they end up putting him on the IL, they should have done it beforehand. If he comes back and plays today, he'll probably say, "Yeah, I'm glad that he didn't go on the IL because he didn't need 10 days. He only needed 3 days off."
This is wild. I mean, we are now to the point of the season where we're saying IL everybody that's banged up and bring up Brett Sullivan, Jose Iglesias, and Azokar.
Be honest though, in your mind, is that going to help the Padres win games?
Don't know.
I don't think it does. They need their regular players to play better. It's not that the 25th guy coming off the bench isn't available is why the Padres have lost.
No, they need the regulars.
These games. They need the regular guys contributing when they're in the lineup. Pitching wise, it looks like they're getting closer to getting some guys back. Seth Lugo is throwing on Friday, I believe, in Peoria, and may do that a couple of times and then be back maybe at the end of next week. Luis Garcia is starting to throw and getting, I think, a rehab assignment soon. I saw her at least throwing a bullpen session, which could lead to a rehab assignment. And Robert Suarez is even throwing off a mound again.
Good.
Which, I don't think he's close yet to a return, but
he hit.
That's certainly a big step.
Can we convert him?
Giving the Padres a little more pitching depth out of the bullpen, because these guys are as good as they've been, going to wear out at some point. Tom Cosgrove is not going to throw scoreless baseball every single outing of his career. First 13, though, 13 for 13, setting a new Padres record yesterday.
I like when
without allowing a run.
I like when he misses a pitch and he's mad, slams his glove. Like, Tom Cosgrove's my guy, man. I really like that guy.
Life is good when you have a career 0.00 ERA.
100%.
All right, we'll come back since we have two guests in our 9 o'clock hour. Paulie's going to get some headlines in the Reindl Report, including more injury news from Major League Baseball. Huge name in the injury news yesterday.
Sad audio to hear.
I haven't heard the audio.
Get some emotion out of that as well.
I did hear some radio hosts laughing at him, though. Did you hear? Ben played that for us yesterday.
Mets-type people were laughing.
Those Mets people.
Had a certain injury yesterday. We'll get to that coming up next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's.
In the chat says one more time that the only body that we need to win is Eric Hosmer. I'm going to ban him. He's a beloved member, but I don't know that I can do
on
this.
97.3 The Fan.
He's taking that bit too far.
Did a little modeling during the break.
And I'm still doing
Got the new City Connect Hawaiian shirts presented by Southwest Airlines. Padres is going to be giving those away on Wednesday, June 14th. Next homestand starts next week. First 40,000 fans in attendance getting a soft summer shirt featuring a Hawaiian print, mint gold pink, just like the City Connect uniforms, multiple sizes, youth large, medium large, XL, and 2XL. Although, unfortunately, they didn't have the 2XL for me to model. We only had the XL. Woods, that looks really good on you, though.
I enjoy this.
For those on the stream, they can see that Woods is wearing his right now. And you actually do look good in that.
That's a choice.
You don't like it?
It's also a choice to not button that top button.
Yeah.
Show a little more.
I've
of
never
chest moss.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot.
Not
of
much,
moss.
no.
I don't shave it either.
I've never.
That's it. That's the natural level of moss.
That's how you're supposed to wear it, I think.
Like this.
Yeah. I've never unironically worn a Hawaiian shirt.
So we had this conversation yesterday on the golf course. Paulie and I did. Unironic. The only way you could wear a Hawaiian shirt unironically was in Hawaii. Right? I'm in Hawaii. Like that's I do think it's funny when you see tourists from like Sandusky, Ohio. They're like, I'm going to Hawaii. I need to load up on a buttload of Hawaiian shirts because I want to fit in when I go there.
They
And
serve a purpose in Hawaii. That's like dressy. You're going out to dinner.
Yeah.
You can wear a Hawaiian shirt in Hawaii and like sandals, and you can still look nice, but not be hot. It's better than a t-shirt. It's like dressed up from a t-shirt.
But what about just a golf shirt? You can also do that.
You can, but I don't know. In Hawaii, I think it looks better to have the Hawaiian shirt on.
So
at
do
dinner.
you own Hawaiian shirts?
I have a couple, yes.
This is the only
For
one.
trips to Hawaii, mostly.
Well, I mean, you're in Hawaii
Of course he has.
every 6 weeks or so I
Probably
get
has
it.
several.
I do understand it. This won't surprise you. I had a Hawaiian shirt moment.
That does surprise
a
me.
phase. It was
Like you actually just wore them on the reg.
Yeah, going
In
out.
Hawaii.
No,
You were that guy.
I've been that guy so many different ways.
I've worked with a couple of that
Not like,
guys in
oh,
radio.
it's a bachelor party. We're all going out. Like, it's
Like, look at me.
Hey, bro, I'll meet you there. Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll see you at the bar later, and I show up in like
Me and my Hawaiian shirt. Tommy Bahama?
no, I think Banana Republic made some for a while, and I bought all of them, and I'd wear them out because nobody else did at the time. So I was like, hey, I want to stand out, for the ladies or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked sometimes, but
I don't know. It was the shirt.
the silver tongue.
I mean, would you hang
Yeah.
out like at Bali High
Man.
on Shelter Island and drink Mai Tais?
No, it was just
No.
the more hipster thing to do was just go out to regular places where other people were dressed up, and I'm in a Hawaiian.
So it wasn't
That
a
guy
it
must be
wasn't a
fun and-
lifestyle. It was simply a fashion choice.
That guy must be fun and kooky. Let's see what he's all about over
You
there.
didn't go to Jimmy Buffett concerts. And
never.
it wasn't
place.
you didn't make the other choices that go with the
Right.
Hawaiian
No.
shirt lifestyle.
No. I like this one though. Yeah, I texted a picture to
Oh,
Hannah.
pina colada. That sounds delicious tonight.
Yeah, I'll have one of those. No, I was still drinking whatever I was drinking at the time. And
just in a Hawaiian
in a
shirt.
Hawaiian shirt. I was that guy. I hate that. Think back to many of my phases.
I think it will be a
Embarrassed.
very appropriate thing to wear to a summer Padres game, though.
Yeah,
Your
I like
Padres
it.
Hawaiian
I'm-
shirt.
I'm planning on wearing it. I like it. I feel like the colors are my colors. I feel like it's okay on me, so I'm gonna keep
I
rocking.
do
it.
like the color.
Yeah, the colors are great. It's a for an XL, I could drop
Breezy.
I could drop 40 pounds or 20 pounds even, but I like it. They did a great job with it. So
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Cal Hope. For free mental health help, visit calhope.org. Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. Cal Hope can help. Access Cal Hope's free and secure mental health resources today. Call or text 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
Trick Taylor in the chat says peacocking. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Peacocking. Walking into a bar, spreading your feathers, trying to meet a young lady.
Maybe it worked for you at the time.
Sometimes it did.
All right, Paulie's going to give us some headlines right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the premier auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Got a 3-vehicle crash now on the westbound King Freeway just before Euclid. Everything in the center divide. And westbound 56 past Camino del Sur. A collision over to the right shoulder. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's Choice. They're a different kind of dealership looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet finds new roads. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right,
All
gentlemen. A couple of baseball stories that we have not gotten to yet today. The big news yesterday in baseball, Rangers ace Jacob deGrom going to have Tommy John surgery and repair a UCL tear. Of course, signed a 5-year, $185 million deal.
Give me some math on that, Ben.
during the offseason.
5-year. How much was it?
185.
So that is 5-year 185. I can't do it
You're really slipping.
anymore. I know.
You all
It's
right?
37 and a half.
Okay.
38 and a half.
And he's 34 years old. We established that yesterday in the
37.
news. What?
37.
37
million.
million
Oh,
a
yeah,
year.
okay.
Yeah.
He's 34 years old.
Yes.
The Texas Rangers, Chris Young, gave him $37 million a year
Mm-hmm.
at 34 years old. I like Jacob deGrom a lot. He's one of the best pitchers I have ever laid eyes on.
Unbelievably talented.
How you didn't see this coming. We're up in
It's
arms.
not his fault.
No, but we're up in arms.
Well, I don't, to their credit, I don't
If
think,
you're a Rangers fan right now, how you feeling?
bummed. And I
Kinda-
mean, are you mad?
overall, I'm thrilled. My
Well, yeah,
team
they're
has been
killing it.
outstanding this
Just
year.
about the DeGrom situation.
You don't need him. They do have an out because he requires surgery. The team option kicks in every year from here on out.
Ooh.
So that's a really
So a little more smarter than we thought.
well. Nobody says with no insurance clause, and then Mike says the Rangers now have an out because he requires surgery. A team option kicks in every year. We said it yesterday that if you're going to do that for Jacob deGrom, don't you just kid glove him until August?
You're just gonna work out.
Well,
throw a
he
couple
didn't get
bullpens.
hurt because they overused him this year. That's for sure.
Well, he got how many starts? 8 starts or something? Take those 8, start him in
Hasn't pitched
September.
since April 28th.
Not even 8.
How many did he get?
He has 5 starts this year.
Maybe make those 5 in October. If you get there, hey, Jake, you are our playoff ace.
He says he's 34. He turns 35 this month.
Man, dude.
He met with reporters yesterday, and it was emotional, man. I got some audio here. You're gonna have to excuse the dip S that left his phone ringer on, and he was trying to sitting there in the scrum recording audio and just but no, I mean tear-filled eyes, and you can hear the emotion from Jacob deGrom. It just sucks, man. It sucks. He's one of the best in the game.
So good.
Sucks for the sport. And here's how it sounded yesterday.
It's tough, so. But
All right.
That his wife?
I went through this before, and I know what it takes to get back. So that's the goal. Go out there, rehab as the best I can, and be around to help, any way I can. We got a special group here, and
He is fighting back the tears right now.
and to not be able to be out there help them win. It stinks. So this is what we love to do, but finding this out, coming here more, wanting to be out here and helping the team, it's a disappointment. So,
man, I've never
be out there and help the team.
I've never. I mean, that goes a long way into the baseball players don't care. He got his money. Bro, that's what they do. They're competitors, and I wonder to a man, Ben, if you walked in the Padres locker room today and said, "All right, all you high-priced guys that we brought in, everybody strokes a check. Jake, Manny, Tatis, Soto, Xander, stroke us a check for $5 million. You guys are going to get to the World Series." To a man, they're done. Right? $10 million. Seriously, would they give back their salary to win a World Series? And you listen to Jacob deGrom, convulsing with sadness. They care so much, and it's not just about the money for a lot of those guys.
Do you think Jacob deGrom is going to end up in the Hall of Fame?
God, I don't know. He's got such a Hall of Fame caliber. Can you tell the story of baseball without Jacob deGrom? No.
I mean, he's now 34 years old. Is not going to pitch again until he's at least 36, almost certainly.
They said he a mid-season of
his career record is 84-57 with a 2.53 ERA. But every time,
what would be the absolute?
Every time he's been healthy, he's been the best pitcher in baseball, the best starting pitcher.
Then you would have to do it for guys like Strasburg and guys like that as well. Strasburg has a much better record with a lot more wins, right? We talked about him yesterday.
Baseball is tough in particular. There's such a longevity factor, I think, with Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Mike says he'll go down as the best pitcher to not make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, probably not. I don't think you can put him in there with those numbers. But my God, when he's healthy, he's good.
Next up, Luis Ariz brought his average up to 401 with 2 more hits yesterday. He is leading the league. 401, of course. Now every day you're gonna start seeing, he back up to 400. Hey, the last person to do this, Ted Williams.
Staggering.
Looking at some of the numbers here, the number 2 hitter in baseball as far as batting average goes, Bo Bichette in Toronto, batting 332, which is great. It's a great season.
Great year.
Freddie Freeman's batting 329. Acuna's batting 329.
Ben, he's hitting
Yoshida's batting 319.
401. We don't see this.
No, I mean,
anymore.
When Tony Gwynn hit 394 in the strike shortened year and was hitting 400 over about a 12-month period.
Yeah.
From between the end of, I think, 1993 to the strike shortened, he hit over 400 for a 12-month period. He wasn't that far ahead of everybody, though. Batting averages were higher back then in general. You didn't see to hit that now is, now Luis Ariz doesn't have any power. If you look at his sliders, his his red and
the StatCast,
red and blue StatCast sliders, he's very much in the red on the bad side.
No, the red's good.
Blue. He's very much in the blue on the bad side, cold side. Things like exit velocity, power, near the bottom. But
what's his OBP? Is he walk
not
a lot
striking
too?
out? I don't think so, because they like Tony Gwynn. I think he's such a good hitter that he makes contact so often that his OBP is only a little bit more than his batting average.
Still impressive to me.
But of course, absolutely.
Massively impressive. It's just not something you see much.
OBP is 451.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
But his batting average is
But it's only 50
401.
points higher than his. Trent Grisham's OBP is 130 points higher than his batting average. But that's because the batting average is so low.
So Juan Soto's.
Tony Gwynn's OBP was always only about 20, 30 points higher than his batting average.
Such a good hitter.
Just never walked.
401.
You have to miss. You have to swing and miss occasionally to walk.
That's amazing.
Finally,
that's amazing to me.
This last story, I don't know that it'll apply to Ben as much as maybe me and Woodsy, but Apple has made a lot of announcements this week, including AI or these goggles that everyone's freaking out about that cost like $4,000, but something more simplistic that applies to a lot of people. You ever type something like, "I am so ducking mad at Ben right now"?
Yes. all the time.
It always autocorrects to ducking. Or
instead of the
duck
other word.
You or anything like that.
You're
Apple,
a ducking idiot.
Apple is addressing that. They are shifting to a new AI-powered autocorrect.
Okay.
And it's going to be tailored to you, the user of your phone. So if you have been correcting it yourself to say the other word, it's going to pick up on that, and it's going to know that you didn't mean ducking.
For me, though, it knows that I do actually mean ducking.
He hit a shot yesterday, and he pushed it a little bit into the trap, and I love when I hear the actual, dang it, it's my favorite because it's a drop. But to hear it in the wild is just, dang it. I'm so mad about that one shot. Dang it.
Mostly mad about our putting skills and lack thereof.
Very. Dang it.
Dang it.
So good.
The auto update change is going to happen in iOS 17. That'll be out in a couple of months.
Beautiful. News you can use.
Thank you, Paulie.
No more ducking.
All right, we have the biggest story in sports over the last 24 hours in golf.
In the last so much.
PGA Tour, Live Tour. Yeah, I mean, the biggest golf story, business-wise, that we've ever seen.
Huge story.
Is and we still don't know so much about what this is going to look like. We'll have one of the best golf reporters in the business, Alan Shipnuck, is going to join us from the Fire Pit Collective.
Shipduck.
When we come back here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Final hour, Ben and Woods, 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. I will say, the selfish part of me as a golf fan was glad to see the news yesterday, simply because I like to see Brooks Koepka compete against Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
I like to see Dustin Johnson compete against Ricky Fowler. I want to see all these guys together for more than just 4 majors every year.
Yep.
And I didn't like the product that Liv was putting out.
You barely saw it.
The couple times I watched, I didn't like the shotguns, didn't really care for, the 3 rounds that they were playing. I like the traditional tournament formats of the PGA Tour, but selfishly, I liked that news.
Getting them all back together.
Now, I totally understand why PGA Tour players are incensed.
Oh.
When you have Bryson DeChambeau doing media today saying, yeah, I feel sorry for those PGA Tour guys. I mean, they got done dirty. We won completely and totally. That would make me so mad if I was Rory McIlroy today.
Tiger Woods turned down $800 million.
That Bryson DeChambeau can lord something over, like I made the smart decision. That Phil Mickelson can lord over me how smart he is now. And I can't say anything.
Can't say a word.
And we've got a guest who knows better than anyone, I think, the insight of guys like Phil Mickelson. He wrote the book on Phil Mickelson. We had him on when that came out.
One of the best books I have ever read.
He's got another one on the Live Tour that I think he just finished and will be coming out in the coming months. Alan Shipnuck from the Fire Pit Collective is back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Alan, I know it was a busy day for you yesterday. Do appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah, you got it. And I did, in fact, just turn my book in about the battle between Liv and the PGA Tour. Needless to say, I'm rewriting the last few chapters as we speak.
It's incredible, the timing. The timing of all of this is just staggering. They had Full Swing, which is one of the best golf shows I've ever seen. I love watching Golf Network, but Full Swing, the way they did it, going inside these players in the locker rooms and everything. They were rolling, I guess, yesterday on this stuff, and this is going to be insane. It was such a monumental day for golf, Alan. It's one of those moments. Where were you when you heard the news, and how did you find out about it? Probably like the rest of us.
Well, I mean, I pushed myself so hard to get the book done. I was just asleep, and I turned my phone off like a normal human being, but it'll ring on my computer, which was in the other room. And I was like, why isn't my phone ringing so much at 7 a.m? I was so grumpy about it. And it was actually your friend Matt Janella was calling me. He's like, wake up! There's a lot of stuff going on. And I looked at my phone and just, the text messages, the missed call, oh God. So then, got out of bed, watched the interview with Jay Monahan and His Excellency Yasir Al-Rumayyan, who's now Jay's boss, and then just plunged right into it. It's been it was the funny thing. I mean, I spent the last chapter of my book looking ahead and forecasting what would happen, and I kind of laid out how a merger would work and what this truce might play out. I mean, if you've been paying attention to all this stuff, it was somewhat inevitable, but the timing was a shock. Like, it happened really fast. Why they announced it, when they did, how they announced it, all of it. It was a thunderbolt. So, but I heard your comments and the lead-in. I think a lot of golf fans feel the same way. I mean, it was time to put the game back together. It made no sense for the PGA Tour not to have access to Brooks Koepka. And you can go on down the list. I mean, for Cam Smith not to be at the Players Championship as defending champion, for Phil not to play at Pebble Beach or Torrey Pines, or on a very basic level, the game had lost its way, and so now this is a chance to create a unified global schedule that could be super cool. You take the best events from the European Tour, you mix in a few to have sort of the live format to jazz things up. You strengthen some of these tour events by bringing all the players back together. So I think it puts the game in a better place, but it's certainly been messy, and the war is over, and now it's about winning the peace, and it's going to be a very complicated process how this all plays out in the next few months.
Talking to Alan Shipnuck from the Fire Pit Collective, the whole thing, both sides, is absolutely rife with hypocrisy, and obviously you have Jay Monahan. using the 9/11 stuff to tell, hey, if you're here, you're going to sleep well at night. You have the live players saying, I just wanted to play fewer events and spend more time with my family. That's really why I'm doing. I mean, everyone in here is just egg running down their face. Does Jay Monahan, though, he's like a villain now. Like, he's a villain. The players don't want him. Why did he do this, in your opinion? Why did he do this? And why did he do it, most importantly, without any sort of consulting of the guys that he begged to stay and fight his battles for him?
Yeah, that last bit is really problematic for Jay, because he asked the players to put their reputations on the line, and obviously Rory's the keynote guy here, and I mean it's affected Rory's life and his career. I mean he's been exhausted by this battle, but he thought he was fighting the good fight, and he was trying to secure the future of the tour. And of course, Rory's not pure. He makes a lot of money that flows through the PGA Tour, and they've funneled a ton of business his way. So, everyone, there's always ulterior motives, but certainly, Rory felt like this was an existential battle for the soul of the game. And, and so for him not to be consulted is interesting, but I think, you see this, if you look at this in the context of just the business world, if the CEOs of two big companies are talking about something, they don't inform the vice presidents, right? They don't inform the managers. Like, this was super high level cloak and dagger diplomacy, and you got to keep it tight, because once word starts to leak out, it gets messy. So I understand why Monahan kept a tight circle, but I am surprised he didn't at least keep Rory in the loop. But of course, Rory would have pushed back. It would have complicated the whole process. And as to your question about why, both sides were struggling, right? I mean, the tour, the combat live had pushed all its chips into the middle of the table and was funneling all kinds of new money to the players, but it was money they didn't have, because their whole model was based on squeezing sponsors for more and more millions of dollars, and the sponsors were pushing back. They were going to lose a lot of sponsors next year, and they realized this is not sustainable. Like, we've made some promises, we've written some checks we can't cash. And for Live Golf, I mean, it took a monumental effort to launch the whole thing, but they really had struggled to attract any kind of fan base. And so there's this sort of this path of mutually assured destruction, and it just made sense for both of them to call a ceasefire. But it certainly feels like a victory for Live and for its benefactors. They're getting everything they've really ever wanted. If you look at the goals of Mohammed bin Salman, the Public Investment Fund, I mean, they're trying to buy their way into the Western world and into the Western economy, and to have access to the biggest companies in the world and the decision makers. And you couldn't have a better platform than being essentially the PGA Tour. So it remains an open question what this new entity is going to look like, and how many events will kind of have the framework of the Live teams and all those things. I mean, the identity of Live is going to be reduced and maybe even eliminated, but ultimately it may have just been this Trojan horse that got the Saudis and the Public Investment Fund the approval and the access that they've always wanted.
I think your point's a good one. When Jeff Bezos makes a big deal, he doesn't consult with the guy on the loading dock at Amazon, but that's not his product. Rory McIlroy is the product on the PGA Tour. You can't do it without those stars, and I do think it's going to be a problem going forward. I guess part of me, and the devil's in the details, and as you said, they were very light on the details in yesterday's announcement, even about what a schedule might look like. And as a city, a community with a long-term PGA Tour event, the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines, I said this morning, I can't even promise you that they'll have that anymore going forward. I don't know what a schedule will look like. They do a lot of those Saudi tournaments at that same time of year. There may be am I wrong? There could be a completely different schedule next year on the PGA Tour, unlike any we've seen before.
That's correct. I mean, one of the problems with golf is that you had all these tours competing against each other, competing for eyeballs, competing for players, for tilted dollars. And it was hurting the game as a business. And so now it's finally going to make sense. You're going to have this unified schedule, and it could be amazing. And you take the best tournaments and venues from Europe, from Asia, from a couple in the Middle East, and obviously heavy on the U.S. And it's something that's been talked about for a long time, including going back to Greg Norman in the 90s. And so I'm excited as a golf fan because the tour schedule had gotten so bloated. I mean, 47 events was way too many, and a lot of them were struggling to attract good players. Some contraction was inevitable and it was necessary. But yeah, if it's your hometown event that disappears, it's not going to feel great. So I think Torrey Pines is safe. You know, Farmers has been a great supporter, and it's a venue that has a long history. But you can make a list of another dozen tournaments that are vulnerable, and it's going to be a bummer for those communities, but it's going to lead to a better product because what the tour was offering becomes so diluted. I mean, especially in this new era of these elevated events where it was, you know, basically a dozen $20 million events that all the stars were going to go to, and then you had another 3 dozen tournaments that were going to struggle. So there will be some changes to the schedule. There's no question about it, and some of the old favorites may go away, and that is a bummer. But as a golf fan, if you're looking at it from the perspective of a global sport, it's going to be an improvement to what we get to watch week to week.
Alan, I'm sure if you asked Jay Monahan, he'd probably say no, not at all. But do you think that Brooks Koepka winning the PGA may have at least hastened the decision on the merger? That if the PGA Tour guys had just fully been dominating everything and the live guys would show up to the majors and they would miss the cut because they were so out of form and not playing competitive golf, that the PGA might say, PGA Tour could say, hey, I think we can hold out a couple more years until they are truly and totally toast. But seeing Brooks Koepka play well and still being Brooks Koepka, could that have made a difference here in the speed of these negotiations?
Oh, no question. Because if you follow the timeline that has been laid out in the last couple of days, the last 24 hours, I mean, all these conversations kicked off after the Masters, and the live guys put a huge charge into that tournament, including San Diego's own Phil Mickelson.
Yes.
And, you know, Patrick Reed was there, and obviously Brooks was there. And so it was the highest rated Masters in 5 years. It wasn't because people love John Rahm so much. I mean, it was the star power of Phil and Brooks that drove that. And then for Brooks to come back and do what he did as the PGA Championship, like you can't with a straight face, as Jay Monahan, go to a longtime sponsor who's paying $10 or $12 million to sponsor a tour event and say, well, now we need 25, but no, you don't get the most dominant player in the world. No, you don't get Phil, you don't get Cam Smith, the reigning champion golfer of the year. You don't get Dustin. Like the tour was asking for more and more, and it was delivering less and less. That it was completely unsustainable. And I think that was, I think what happened at the Masters, and especially what happened at Oak Hill, was a reckoning. It's like we can't keep going this way. And from the PGA Tour side, whereas Live could go on forever. I mean, if both sides had gotten hunkered down, right? It was just a war of attrition, and the Public Investment Fund was always going to win that. I mean, Pat Perez told me, like, you know, the tour's model is screwed because it's reliant on squeezing more and more money out of all these companies. Like, our money comes out of the ground, it's going to go on forever. And like, who's going to win that battle? And Monahan had to swallow his pride and just acknowledge the reality of the situation.
That it's so mind blowing to me. We only got a couple minutes here. Alan Shipnuck from the Fire Pit Collective. So essentially, I guess I was wrong. I mean, I the way I looked at it, they were in a really, really big poker game, and Alan and Jay Monahan just got panicked and went all in and folded and said, well, we're going to increase the purses and we're losing all these guys. And yeah, you did. You lost some big names. You absolutely did. Hindsight being 2020, did he play this the right way from Jump Street by giving it all the credibility that he gave it? And I know the players gave it the most credibility by leaving, but did he play this the right way from the get-go?
Well, no. I mean, it's one of the things in my book is I lay out the whole history of this, and I have a letter that's never been made public that went from one of the top Saudi guys to Monahan in April of 2021, saying we want to partner with the PGA Tour, we want to invest in the PGA Tour, let's find a way to work together. Monahan never responded to the letter. and he walked into a board meeting and he basically said, "Guys, we're at war," and he thought that they could win this battle, and it was a fatal miscalculation. And if he could have partnered with the Saudis back then, when they had no leverage, they had no product,
Yeah.
taken their money and marginalized them and ended the threat right then, but he didn't, and it was hubris. It was bad business sense. It was overvaluing his own product, overvaluing the loyalty of his players, and so that's really a fateful moment in this whole thing. So for sure, Monahan's going to take a lot of blame. The flip side to that is the Saudis were pretty determined to do this, and this was a new threat, and it was hard to recognize exactly the resolve and how effective they're going to be in launching this thing. So Monahan, he weighed the risks, and he made a calculation that turned out to be the wrong one, and now the PGA Tour, as we know it, is over. But again, it's possible this whole product of professional golf has been strengthened. I mean, it was stuck in this outdated model as a 501c6, where they couldn't make money. It was a pass through. They had to distribute any money they made. Now they can take outside investment. They can pour all these billions into a new product. They can compensate their players in a different way. They can invest in new technologies and all these things. So in the end, you may get to the right resolution, but Monahan certainly got there in a very roundabout and damaging fashion.
Riveting.
I assume, Alan, you're headed up to LA Country Club next week for the U.S. Open. I mean, if we thought the most recent majors had distractions because of Live versus the PGA Tour, I'm not even sure anyone's going to watch the golf next week. It's all going to be the distraction.
Well, yeah, it's for sure. I mean, the question of why they announced when they did, I mean, it may be to get away from the U.S. Open a little bit. At least, the guys have been on the firing lines all week here, the Canadian Open, and Rory's been there as defending champ, and so some of the dust will have settled. But yeah, it's going to be the dominant story Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Luckily, LA Country Club is such a phenomenal venue. It's still our national championship. I think that once they start counting strokes on Thursday, people will want to tune into the golf. But I agree, it's going to be a huge part of the early week festivities.
Alan, thank you so much for your time. Can't wait for that book to come out. The last one was great, of course, about Phil Mickelson, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Alan Shipnuck from the Fire Pit Collective, and he did a list of winners and losers yesterday. Did a podcast with Matt Janella and Michael Bamberger. If you want more from Alan, you can check it out at thefirepitcollective.com.
Riveting stuff.
We get another guest. Our friend Corey Brock's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Did have some other big local news involving the San Diego Loyal announced this morning. Breaking. We'll get to that coming up when we return after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. So I don't know, you like Don't Do This or a segment earlier, but you didn't happen to listen earlier this morning. With the Odyssey app and listen on demand, you can just click on earlier today and then kind of take your choice of your segments and everything that's posted on there to catch up on our show or anything else you missed here. So download it today, the free Odyssey app, and just search 97.3 The Fan. Thanks again to Alan Shipnuck from the Fire Pit Collective, talking about the biggest story in sports right now, the merger of the PGA Tour and Live Golf. He thinks the Farmers Insurance Open, with a solid sponsor and a good history, should be safe, even in a completely restructured golf schedule next year. That was good to hear, because I was a little bit worried.
Yeah, for sure. I love the Farmers.
I think it's a great event. It always has good fields, but feels to me like nothing is completely set in stone right now, and nothing is safe at the moment.
And if they're listening, please, you do not have to invite me out to play the media day at Torrey Pines ever again, because I'm just not good.
Too much course for you.
It's too much course for me. Paul, are you in agreement with me? We'll just skip it next year.
I could do 9.
I can do 3. I'll do 3 next year.
Because we always... All right, yeah, let's keep rolling. And then about the 11th or 12th hole, like, F this.
My wrists are killing me from whacking
if I go into it knowing I'm done after 9, I'm leaving after 9.
All right, I'll do
it's
9.
a beautiful day.
I'll do
It's
9
one of
with
the
you.
most picturesque courses in America.
You've got every media dip ass out there looking in
Everyone's
6 foot
ducking
rough
it.
for their balls,
Yeah.
and no one can find them except for Ben, who hits down the middle. The rest of us are out there like, this is a nightmare. How do these guys do it? No, I hope the Farmer stays. I really enjoy going out there. It's always a fun time. I know you're about to talk about Loyal, but have you seen the biggest soccer story in the world right now?
Messi?
Yes.
Messi.
It's official, yeah.
Is it official now? He's coming
Yes.
to MLS?
Yes.
So, the new San Diego MLS team in a couple of years could be going up against Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Turned down offers from Saudi Arabia and Barca. And so he will be playing in the MLS. I mean, that's pretty huge news. Not for me necessarily, but for many.
Yeah, obviously he's more on the back end of his career, and
It's called the back nine.
We've seen, like David Beckham come over on the back end of his career as well to play at MLS. But Messi is as big of a name as there is in soccer. It gives him even more credibility to a league that we're about to join here in San Diego and be a part of. So that is definitely exciting soccer news, as is the news the Loyal announced this morning. One of the major European giants, huge clubs, Borussia Dortmund, is going to be coming to Snapdragon Stadium this summer on Thursday, July 27th for a friendly against the Loyal. They're going to play our San Diego Loyal against Borussia Dortmund. Now, I don't know if they're bringing all of their stars and their lineup. Giovanni Reyna from the United States is one of them. I would think he would be here, obviously, playing in his home country, but I'm sure they'll bring some of them. And that is an opportunity, a very rare opportunity, to see one of the most successful teams in Europe, in Germany, coming to San Diego. We're already getting Wrexham is coming to play Manchester.
Damn near killed them.
Are they playing City or Manchester City, right?
City,
Or
yeah.
United.
No.
Okay. I think it's Manchester City.
I don't know.
I think so.
I thought it was.
You think it's United?
I thought it was.
I think it's Man City. I don't know. The Man City's the one. They're going for the triple, the rare,
It's
all
Man-
the championships.
it's Man U.
It's Man U. They're playing Man U. Wrexham is like the big story here, though, with Ryan Reynolds. But Snapdragon is getting us more big soccer events. Just in the first few months since it's been open, they're going to have the what is it? The big soccer tournament that's coming here. The semifinals of the Confederations Cup. Is that what's coming? The Gold Cup semifinal.
It's hard for me to
that's
keep
coming
it
to Snapdragon
all,
Stadium in
hard for
July
me to
as well.
Keep it all straight.
Yeah, lots of huge soccer events in the month of July at Snapdragon Stadium for soccer fans that are coming to town. So I like when we have big events in San Diego. Even if
You
I'm
like
not
stuff, though.
even if I'm not a huge soccer fan,
Right.
I want the big stuff to be here in San Diego
Sure.
as much as possible.
Absolutely.
I think
All
that's
eyes on
always
us.
good.
I mean, I couldn't agree more.
Looking forward to it.
All right, let's talk some baseball. If we have to, we must. With Corey Brock. from
Yeah,
The
it's a good
Athletic.
chance to catch up with one of our friends. He used to cover the Padres, obviously, many years ago. Now he's the Athletics reporter covering the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, it's the Padres light, kind of, but maybe we're the Padres light at this point.
Well, I think revisiting now that trade The Austin
We don't have
Nola
to.
trade.
We don't have to. What are you going to do about it? I can't revisit any more trades.
We know how it worked out.
We know how it worked out. What do you
It
want to bring
wasn't
this
good.
up? Let's talk about how that girl in high school absolutely ripped my heart out. We're going to do
Didn't
this.
the Padres traded Trey Turner?
Yeah,
Phil
did you
Myers?
know that? Did you know our lineup? Well, Trey Turner's not that great, so maybe AJ Preller had
he
some
was great.
massive foresight.
Except when he tried to sign him in the offseason.
Again.
For $800 million.
We'll talk to Corey Brock
Oh, God.
from the
My hair's
Athletic
falling out.
when we come back on 97.3 The Fan.
I don't want to talk about that trade again, man. mistakenly said Matt Brash isn't having that great a year. He's not having that great a year, but it's getting better, trending upwards, which means Corey Brock, who will join us next, will have just more to brag about after
We
fleecing
saw
the Padres.
Andres Munoz last
Yeah.
night. Dominant.
Why
out
would
of the
you want a
bullpen.
guy that can throw 103 miles an hour? Why would you want that? Or a guy with an exploding slider like Matt Brash when you can have,
Seen Austin Adams?
Ty France.
Dan Altavilla, you seen his butt?
Padres needed to address.
I don't know where he is now.
They needed to address a long-standing problem at the catching position.
Yeah, boy.
And they thought the answer was going to be Austin Nola. That was not correct.
How'd that work out?
And it's turned out to be a big mistake. We'll talk with Corey Brock about it. First, this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Caltrans and Stormwater Program. Visit cleanwaterca.com. Let's change this to that by picking up after our pets, reducing pesticide use, and regularly servicing our vehicles. Learn how at cleanwaterca.com. That's cleanwaterca.com from Caltrans Stormwater. Corey Brock right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Kia of Carlsbad. Couple problems in the North County. Crash the clearing stage, West 56 past Camino del Sur. Everything's over the right shoulder. And traveling on the northbound 5 right before the 78. Crash over the right shoulder. With a huge selection of new Kias in stock, they're sure to have the Kia of your dreams. They're right off the 5 freeway in the heart of Carlsbad, or shop online at premierkiaofcarlsbad.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Let's go out to our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. We're joined by the Athletics. Corey Brock used to cover the Padres, now covers the Seattle Mariners, and always fun to have you back on the program here, Corey. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for giving me a ring.
You know,
brag away, my friend. Brag
Woods
away.
doesn't really like revisiting trades, but most of the time, you take one snapshot and you go, "Oh, that trade looked like it favored
Who on
this
the
team."
losing end of a trade does like to revisit?
But can we talk about that some more?
My point is it's never as simple as, "Oh, this team won the trade, and this team lost the trade." You know, it oftentimes
Or
shifts.
White Sox fans going, James Shields for Fernando
Tatis Jr.
Yeah, those are rare, though. For a lot of the time, a trade will look good for one team for a while, and then it'll look good for another team, and then someone gets hurt, and it looks good for one team again. Right now, though, the Padres-Mariners trade from 2020, looking about as one-sided in the wrong way as anything A.J. Preller has ever done in his career, Corey.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, especially with some of these trades where it will change over time. I know exactly what you mean. The Mariners had one of these remember when they traded for Jared Kelenic, they got rid of Robinson Cano's contract. They had to give up Edwin Diaz. Well, for the longest time, that looked like a great deal for the Mariners. And then Diaz had that amazing year for the Mets, and Kelenic struggled. It looked like a great deal for the Mets. But this one, I think, will be clear-cut forever, right? And I think we saw another, evidence of that last night. Ty France with a couple of hits, drove in a run. He's been really good during his time in Seattle. And then Andres Munoz last year was probably one of the best relievers in the American League, had the most strikeouts of any reliever in the American League. And again, 100 miles an hour is 100 miles an hour. So they're really excited to have him back.
You know what's been really fun about this year, Corey Brock, for Padres fans is, we actually did a thing yesterday on the show. I went to an article and I was saying, all right, who said it? Scott Service or Bob Melvin? And it was the same message, like, oh, the offense has been inconsistent, and it's the same message every day. Well, Julio Rodriguez, who's been struggling, comes in, gets 2 knocks, did he hit a bomb? Yeah, he hit a bomb last night. It's been really fun to see guys get back on track here in San Diego, and that's what's been happening. Even Gilbert, got roughed up in his last start, comes in. The Padres have seemingly been this season the cure for what ails a lot of teams that are trying to find their way, and that's been really, really frustrating.
Well, and, I look at both these teams, guys, and they're not dissimilar at all. I mean, certainly the makeup of the roster and the payrolls are certainly much different. But you look at the Mariners, and I'm sure this holds true for the Padres, the entire position player group, aside from Jared Kelenic, has regressed. And, so that leaves you with a big question, right? Like, okay, are these guys going to get back to the numbers where they've been before? I'm a firm believer in track record until you don't, right? So is this going to come around? Do you have the right players? And I think that the Padres and the Mariners both have the right players. Certainly the Mariners will need to add a bat, and maybe the Padres will as well. But I think you have the right core. You're just waiting for these guys to get hot, and then you look up and it's the 1st of June, and you're just kind of treading water at this point. The Mariners are 30-30. I know the Padres are under 500, but it's not early anymore. We can't lean on that now. It's time for guys to get going.
Other than Julio, who's been the biggest surprise for you to watch them struggle this year?
Yeah, and I was never concerned about him too much, guys, and he's been good lately.
Yeah.
Teoscar Hernandez, who was their big off-season acquisition, got off to a really slow start, strikeout rate soaring, but he's been a little bit better here in the last 3 weeks or so, and they need him to hit. I mean, this guy's been a proven run producer in the American League for about 5 years now. So, yeah, it's a few guys, but by and large, like I said, I look at this position player group, and I think they're going to have to augment this thing to make a run. And it's going to be tough for them to get back to the postseason. It really is, especially the way the American League is lined up. But yeah, I would say that's pretty much it. But I tell you what, that Julio Rodriguez home run last night, I think that landed in the backyard of our old house in Allied Gardens. So I hope the family that lives there now and is enjoying the house value is enjoying their souvenir.
Talking to Corey Brock from The Athletic covering the Mariners. Do the Mariners and the Padres have an ace problem? And Dan Plesac, it's not the be-all, end-all, just came out of his list of his top 25 best starting pitchers in baseball. There's not a single Padre on that list, top 25. And I don't believe there's a Mariner on that list either. Yet both teams have good pitching.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the Padres have been getting good starts from Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove lately. Blake Snell has been pitching well. Michael Wacha's having an outstanding year, but none of them cracked the top 25. Same with the guy we saw yesterday, Logan Gilbert. Good arm there, Corey. And today's starter, George Kirby, I think, has been throwing well, but neither team has that one guy that you can say is, all right, this is your unhittable starter that you're going to get.
I would encourage you to take a closer look at that list, because I believe Luis Castillo is probably in the top 10 on that list. And I think Kirby may be toward the bottom. I think I saw the same list as you yesterday.
Luis Castillo is on there. Yeah, he is. Yep.
Yeah,
Kirby's not on it,
legitimate.
but you're right. Luis Castillo's there.
Yeah, and wait till you see Kirby. He's really good. They have a
Fantastic.
rotate. Yeah, I mean, well, that doesn't mean he's not hittable. But you got Luis Castillo, who's been everything and more since they acquired him from the Reds.
Yeah,
And
I think
then
I saw his name and I went, Red. No, no, that's right. He's back. He's on the Mariners now.
Yeah, well, they get Gilbert's 26, Kirby's 25, and they have two other rookies filling out the back end of their rotation that they're really excited about. But I even think Kirby's a little bit better, or could be better long term than Logan Gilbert. So we'll see what happens today. But I think they're okay pitching. But at some point, you're right, guys. You suffer a few injuries, some underperformance, and you realize, oh shoot, we don't have a whole lot of depth here. So I'm trying to chase that starting pitching is really hard.
It is, and it's been so frustrating here. We're talking to our pal Corey Brock from The Athletic and his puppy in the background. The expectations now, our expectations based on payroll, based on star power, were obviously through the roof. I mean, you can't even imagine how high they were here. It's obviously been a disappointment. Now Seattle breaking that playoff, non-playoff run. How are the expectations in Seattle, and are you surprised that they're playing 500 baseball right now based on how well they played last year?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, the widespread regression from the position player group has been really disappointing. And when you do break that postseason spell, and I can't even begin to tell you what that meant for the city and for the organization. I mean, it was 2 decades. It was the longest, postseason drought in professional sports. So it raises expectations, right? And you guys certainly understand what that's like there. But I think they were a little cautious, or I think they were one bat light coming out of the off season, and I don't know what the factors are, if it was payroll driven or what. But I think they're they've gotten bitten by that, and now they're going to have to go out and find a bat. But I don't think they wanted to get tied in too deep to a big contract. And the other things, I think one thing, guys, that fans really need to understand is when you talk about free agents, the guy he needs to want to come there
Correct.
too. It's
Yeah.
not just writing an open check. And, the Mariners play in one of the toughest hitting environments in all of the big leagues. And so, it's not always an easy sell. So it's never usually one factor. It's not always about the money. For me, it would be about the money. Let's be honest. I would chase that in a heartbeat. Right. But for these other guys, they got to take into consideration a lot of different things, and living in San Diego, that looks pretty good.
Corey, last thing for me, because you bring it up, Petco Park obviously has similarities to T-Mobile Park in terms of the difficulty with hitters at home, and the Padres have experienced it a long time. You saw it when you covered the team. Is there anything the Mariners do organizationally that you've seen to try to overcome that? I mean, we've seen the Padres try many different things with very limited success. What have you kind of witnessed the Mariners at least attempt to offset that ballpark difficulty they've had?
Well, their long-standing philosophy under Jerry Dipoto is control the zone, right? And that's not striking out as much offensively, maybe taking more walks, and then conversely on the pitching side, eliminating walks and getting more strikeouts. Well, offensively, they've completely blown that up this year for whatever reason. I don't know if guys are pressing or what, but they were much better about this the last 2 years than they are this year. And maybe it's the players. You have some guys that strike out a lot, but I think the strikeout rates have really driven a little bit of panic among the position player group, and guys will press a little bit. Everybody wants to come up there and hit an 8-run home run, right? Because they know the team's struggling and they feel like they need to contribute. So, yeah, they've tried that there. But I remember when I was in San Diego, they moved the fences in at least once.
Yep.
And maybe even did initially when the park opened after a year or two. So I don't know. I feel like if you square up the ball in each ballpark, it's gonna fly, right? You're gonna have your chance to score some runs.
True, Corey. Good stuff as always. Appreciate the conversation, and maybe we'll chat with you when the Padres make the return trip up to Seattle again later this year.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it. Corey Brock covering the Mariners for the Athletic on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. I would say Matt Carpenter might disagree with that last statement by Corey Brock. You square it up, you hit it a ton, it's going to go out anywhere. He did it the other night.
Man,
he
he did.
squared it up, he hit it a ton.
I think he said I couldn't have hit that better. I could not have hit
But
that ball in a
sometimes
better
when
spot.
it's 9 o'clock at night and the clouds are out and it's June and it's 60 degrees in San Diego,
Well, it was
you just can't hit the ball 410 feet.
Well, it was 60 degrees last night. It was 9 o'clock. Clouds are out. It was June. Julio Rodriguez hit one 7,000 feet.
That's true. You got to pull it, I think, in that case, to hit a home run that long.
Which is exactly what you want from all your guys going up there looking
Trying to pull
dead
everything,
pull.
yeah.
It's just the best. It's the best approach. What were your thoughts on the bunt last night?
I saw some debate that some people loved it. They want to see more small ball from the Padres, and it worked in a sense. They did get a run on an out,
on a check swing,
which they wouldn't
nubber.
So had Ha-Seong Kim gone up and say struck out, and then Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a check swing to first base, and then Juan Soto made an out, they wouldn't have scored any runs at all.
Right.
So in that sense, maybe they added a run that they wouldn't have gotten and would have been shut out. However, we don't know what Ha-Seong Kim would have done had he swung away.
But you said maybe that would have happened. You definitely gave away an out. Definitely. That's there's no debate there. You handed them one out. And that's the risk you run with small ball and bunting. And this team, again, I know how they were built. They were not built to be a small ball team. They weren't. And you have the top of, if Ha-Seong Kim, if he can't be trusted to swing away with runners on first and second and nobody out.
It's one of your
why
hottest
is-
hitters right now.
I understand. Yeah. Why is he batting leadoff then? I know that I'm anti for the most part giving away outs because they are so very precious and we are struggling. And I also will admit we are struggling to score runs. Certainly. I am.
If it was the bottom of the eighth and the game was tied.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
And
Knock
one
it-
run
knock
more
it
than likely
bottom over.
wins the game. Not 100%, but one run gives you a 90% chance of winning the game. Then I think there's a good argument to be made that you go for the bunt. In the third inning
It's
of a
such
game that you're
give up.
trailing 1-0, I think you have to play for more runs.
Yeah.
You have to play and trust Ha-Seong Kim to give you a good at bat. You know what could have happened? You know what did Austin Nola just do? He squared around a couple of times.
Yep.
Didn't get the pitch. He got walked.
Yep.
Who's to say that Logan Gilbert wouldn't have walked Ha-Seong Kim if he had just gone up there and not bunted the ball there? You have to give the other team a chance to make mistakes as well,
instead of 100% giving them an out.
And theoretically, someone could have thrown away the bunt and still made a mistake. But ultimately, there's a lot of good things that could have happened. Sure, he could have grounded into a double play, and we would have all been saying, yeah, he should have bunted there.
No, he wouldn't have. Not in the third inning. People will. I don't. That's not the baseball that I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not. But it's not how this team was built.
But ultimately, you lost
inning.
the game 4-1.
Right.
And you could have played for a bigger inning. Now, it also is on Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto. They came up with runners at second and third. There's nothing in that said they had to make an out. They could have hit a 3-run homer in that situation, or at least hit a single to the outfield and driven in 2.
Yeah.
And then you're feeling a little bit better about the bunt.
When a team is struggling offensively, giving away outs does not seem smart. Am I an idiot for that comment?
Some people might say so. Some people say when a team is struggling, that's exactly when
that's a good time to give away outs.
That's exactly when you need to play to try to get something on the board.
All right. It's a fundamental disagreement.
But I do think there's a difference between asking Austin Nola to bunt, who's hitting
100%,
40,
100%,
and Ha-Seong Kim, who is hitting about 300 over the last month and has been one of your hotter offensive players. You got to give him a chance.
Such a panic move. It's such a panic. I'm going to get dragged on the next show on the station, I'm sure.
You are a study in contrasts over there.
Oh.
Well, I mean, first of all, you talked about earlier how your boomer was trying to get out.
It is, but that's not boomer. That's just smart. You just don't give away outs.
But
you don't give them away.
I think that's a kind of a old baseball take that you should be bunting and playing for the one run. You disagree with that.
Oh, I absolutely.
That's why you're a study in contrast.
Yeah, but I that's such a take. I've never agreed with giving away outs. Never. I also spoken like somebody that was not a good hitter and loved to bunt. Don't be like me, is what I'm telling the Padres. Don't be the scared guy that's afraid to swing and hit a double. Don't bunt and look for the pat on the back. The great job, bud. You move the guys over. And don't be that. Don't be like me. Be like you. Go out.
Is this live or a replay above us? A's already up 5-0 on the Pirates in the first inning. Ouch.
That could be. They'll probably still lose.
Yep. Ouch. Okay, we are done for today. Coach John Quintera is coming up next. We'll be back tomorrow morning to wrap up the quick 2-game series against the Mariners. Craig Elston will be with us. Eno Saris as well. For Paul Reindl, Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Wednesday from all of us here at The Fan.